This is Guardian Radio, your station for up-to-the-minute news and intelligent, interactive, and engaging conversations. 96.9 FM. The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the management and staff of Guardian Radio.
Good morning. The F&M unveiling new candidate 17. Michael Pintard says change is here. The Consultant Physician Staff Association and the PHA signing a new agreement. And we are talking with the F&M chairman about the new candidates and the budget and more. That's all straight ahead this morning. I'm Dwight Strachan, and this is Morning Blend.
It's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of a new way. Don't you know that it's the start of the end of the old way. Wake up, it's a new day.
Good morning again, Bahamas. It is Friday, June 27th, 2025. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Again, I'm Dwight Strachan. In a moment, Ricardo Wells will be joining us. Also, this morning, we'll meet the awardees of the King's Foundation Building Craft Program Bahamas 2025. I told you about this a few weeks ago. We'll meet the folks who are going to be heading to the UK shortly. That's all ahead, but it's time for the overnight, the latest breaking news from while you're sleeping, and the top national and international headlines this morning. In the overnight, the F&M unveiling its first 17 candidates for the next general election during an event at F&M headquarters last night. The candidates include a mix of former F&M MPs and newcomers to frontline politics. Several former ministers were nominated, including former Minister of National Security Marvin Dames, nominated for Mount Moriah, former Minister of Financial Services, Trade and Industry and Immigration, Ellsworth Johnson, for Yamacraw, and former Minister of Foreign Affairs Darren Henfield, now for South Beach. Henfield previously served as North Abaco MP between 2017 and 2021. Michael Folks getting the nomination for Golden Gates, Carlton Bowleg for North Andros and the Berry Islands, and Ricky Mackey for North Eleuthera, seats all three men previously represented between 2017 and 2021. St. Anne's MP Adrian White and East Grand Bahama MP Kwesi Thompson were renominated. The party's remaining candidates include Dr. Jacqueline Penn Knowles for Marathon, Terrence Boodle for North Abaco, Brian Brown for Golden Isles, Omar Isaacs for West Grand Bahama and Bimini, Deborah Moxie Roll, Exuma and Ragged Island, Dr. Nicholas Fox for Fox Hill, Corinthia Komalafi for Carmichael, Jeremy Sweeting for South Abaco, and Philippa Kelly for Central and South Eleuthera. The party blocked off a section of Mackey Street directly surrounding its headquarters and set up a stage, tents, and barricades. Dozens of party supporters flocked the area. F&M leader Michael Pintard took the stage around 9:30 p.m., saying the party was careful with whom it selected to run, saying they have hopes that a new generation of leaders would emerge. After extended negotiations, the Consultant Physician Staff Association, the CPSA, and the Public Hospitals Authority have signed a new industrial agreement that introduces paternity leave and group medical insurance for members of the association. The long-awaited industrial agreement follows a string of concerns from the CPSA regarding work conditions, wages, and health insurance, and the broader issue of labor relations in the country. Prosecutors dropping charges against a teen whom they accused of firing shots at a baby shower, killing one person and injuring three others. the decision to withdraw the case against Kobe Taylor, coming after a police inspector testified in the case. As a result of the decision of the Director of Public Prosecutions, Justice Janine Weish Gomez, dismissing the 9-member jury. On August 21, 2022, police said a gray car pulled up at a home on Stack Avenue in Nassau Village, where a baby shower was underway. 2 gunmen emerged from a car and opened fire. As a result, 21-year-old Jortley Avril was killed, while Perry Johnson, Tyrone Smith, and Darren Roll were injured. Minister of Education Glenys Hannah Martin says that the government is looking into amending laws as it relates to people who attack staff and students on campuses, school campuses, after a Grand Bahama principal was assaulted by an individual last week. She said the egregious and unacceptable incident is now a police matter. It's before the courts, as we told you yesterday. Last week, a man hit a principal at a primary school in East Grand Bahama in her head with a piece of iron after he became irritated when collecting his child's report card. Well, his nephew's report card, we've been told. Hannah Martin said the ministry has been advancing safety protocols when confronted with situations, but noted the incident was more unexpected because of where it happened. Commissioner of Police Shanton Knowles says that a portable gas stove started the fire at a home on Rupert Dean Lane that killed a 5-year-old boy and severely injured 3 other young children last week. Police say the fire started in a bedroom at the home of a mother after the mother left her home and with her 4 young children in the care of a relative. The commissioner asking parents and guardians to make sure that children are properly cared for and properly monitored, especially during the summer break. And firefighters are still working to contain a brush fire in Adelaide that has been burning since Monday. Police Commissioner Knowles saying they've been working around the clock. They received assistance from the community in obtaining heavy equipment so they can form fire breaks. Knowles says this has helped to prevent the fire from getting closer to homes in the area. More from the courts. A 58-year-old man died as a result of a gunshot wound to the head. Jurors hearing about this yesterday. Prosecutors alleged that Craig Smith's death was at the hands of Keith Stubbs and Stephen Clark. They've denied the murder charge at their trial before Justice Neil Brathwaite and a 9-member jury. According to an autopsy performed by forensic pathologist Dr. Karen Sands, Smith died as a result of a gunshot injury that fractured his parietal bone and caused a subarachnoid hemorrhage. It was recovered from the wound path. According to the report, Smith died on Rock Crusher Road. The pathologist's findings were read into evidence by the judge's clerk. The case continues on Monday. Overseas, Russian forces launching 363 Shahed and decoy drones, as well as 8 missiles at Ukraine overnight. The Ukrainian Air Force claiming that air defenses stopped all but 4 of the drones and downed 6 cruise missiles. Russia's defense ministry, meanwhile, says that 39 Ukrainian drones were downed in several regions overnight, including 19 over the Rostov region and 13 over the Volgograd region, where both regions lie east of Ukraine. Long-range drone missiles and drone strikes have been a hallmark of the war, now in its 4th year. The race by both sides to develop increasingly sophisticated and deadlier drones has turned the war into a testing ground for new weaponry. The Ukrainian Air Force says that 359 incoming drones were either intercepted or electronically jammed. The Ukrainian attack forced 3 Russian airports to briefly suspend flights. Authorities also briefly closed the Crimean Bridge overnight as drones targeted Crimea. Neither Russia nor Ukraine reported any major damage or casualties in the attacks. sports. Bahabash, represented by All Caribbean Wrestling, is set to return for a second year at the Grand Hyatt at Bahamar Resort this Saturday. The one-day event features a star-studded 9-match card, including several of the company's marquee champions and the Bahamas' own very own Kalia Capri. The main event is scheduled to begin at 6 p.m. Saturday, but will be preceded by a seminar and tryouts hosted by World Wrestling Entertainment creative consultant Gabby Sapolsky, running from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. In addition to tryouts, there will be a meet and greet for fans hosted by former WWE superstar Mark Henry. That's set for 3:30 to 5:30 p.m. Event organizer Jeff J.B. Brazel says it feels great to return to the Bahamas after a strong turnout at the inaugural event. You can read more about it in today's Guardian Sports section. And the Peace on the Streets Basketball Classic has made a significant mark on local Bahamian basketball. Over the past 3 decades, the annual event is set to return this summer, running from July 14th through 20th. The initial games will be played at the Hope Center, and on the final night of competition, dubbed Family Night, the games will move to the Kendall G.L. Isaacs Gym. Event organizer Carlos Reed speaking about the growth of the tournament and giving details, all in today's Guardian Sports section. At Sports, brought to you by Kalik, inviting you to pop the top. And time for your first look at weather, brought to you by Star General. A mid to upper level trough will trigger some residual showers over the northern islands while it shifts north and moves away from the area. Surface high pressure will build behind that across the island, supporting moderate to locally fresh breezes. Also, we've got a plume of Saharan dust that's going to move over the country from the southeast, bringing a much drier air mass for the weekend. So the surface ridge will remain in place throughout the weekend, and upper level low will move from the Atlantic across the islands with moisture that's going to bring back the rain and thunderstorms early next week into the middle of your work week. There is a possibility for localized flooding in low-lying and flood-prone areas during heavy or prolonged rainfall events in the northern islands today. The risk of rip currents remains, especially along eastern shorelines in the central and southeast Bahamas. Your forecast for today for the extreme northern islands, including Grand Bahama, cloudy with gradual clearing by tonight, a 20 to 40% chance of showers and thunderstorms, wind southeast to south at 10 to 15 knots. For the rest of the northwest Bahamas, including New Providence, partly cloudy today, turning fair at night, a 10 to 20% chance of showers, wind southeasterly at 10 to 15 knots with occasional gusts. And for the central and southeast Bahamas today, a mix of sun and clouds, turning mostly fair at night, 10% chance of showers, winds easterly or east to southeast at 15 to 20 knots with higher gusts. Temperatures today, we're looking at highs back into the 90s today, around 91 Fahrenheit, 32 Celsius. Overnight lows tonight getting down to about 81 Fahrenheit, 27 Celsius. The heat index during the day today will make it feel like it's in the upper 90s, even close to 100. That's your first look at weather this morning. We'll have an extended outlook for your weekend coming up in just a bit. This weather check brought to you by Star General, insurance made simple.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of a new way.
You are listening to Morning Blend. When we come back, we're discussing the day's top stories right here on your home for fresh news and smart talk all day. Guardian Radio 96.9.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
RBC, your idea of loving every journey happens now. Free up cash with affordable auto financing from RBC. With competitive rates and no bank fees, it's the perfect time to make every journey something special. Apply now to pre-qualify in 60 seconds at rbc.com/auto loan to shop with confidence. Conditions apply. RBC, your idea of loving your journey happens here.
Screws and Fasteners World, Balfour Avenue and Palm Beach Street, has those hard-to-find fasteners for you right now. You can find stainless steel regular hex, carriage bolts, galvanized bolts, threaded rods, nails, self-tap screws, sex bolts, anchor bolts, turnbuckles, masonry tools, hand tools, and weed whacker strings. Check out the rope selection and car body fasteners, too. Special orders are welcome. It's your #1 fastener store. Screws and Fasteners World, Balfour Avenue and Palm Beach Streets. Call 326-1976.
It's official. The BYD showroom is now open at the mall at Marathon, and it's like a portal into the future. Sleek rides, cutting-edge tech, all from the world's #1 electric car brand. Slide through for a free coffee at the Dream Bar and let the Easy Car Sales team show you why everyone's falling in love with electric. Rain or shine, it's cool, comfortable, and convenient. Open 10 to 6 daily through the food court entrance at the mall. Your electric journey starts now.
Get ready to catch the thrill and win with Shell. Fuel up with $20 or more and unlock your shot at unforgettable prizes.
We're talking regatta trips to Exuma and Harbor Island.
Free fuel, grocery vouchers, water park passes, and more. Just snap your receipt and WhatsApp it to us at 242-422-0271. The vibes are high, the prizes are hot, and the summer is yours to win with Shell. Only at participating Shell stations in Nassau, now through August 22nd. Terms and conditions apply.
As a healthcare professional, you dedicate your life to caring for others. But even with the best care, legal challenges can arise. Protect your practice and your peace of mind with medical malpractice insurance from Star General. At Star General, we've partnered with Lloyd's of London to bring you comprehensive professional liability insurance designed specifically for those consulting or practicing privately. Visit our website today so you can focus on what you do best, caring for your patients, while we take care of the rest. Star General, insurance made simple.
Abaco, get ready for the summer's official rum and beer link call. Sounds present Found Fast. Found Fast. Saturday, July 5th, Morris Harbor, Abaco at the Royal Recreational Ground. Gates open 5 p.m., $20 entry. Ladies free before 8 p.m. with Nassau and Abaco's hottest DJ. Don't miss the beer drinkers versus rum drinkers competition. Damn rum for me. Found Fast, July 5th, Abaco. Sponsored by Collect, the Beer of the Bahamas. Drink responsibly.
Looking to elevate your gadget game, or are tech troubles simply slowing you down? Escape to a world of innovation at Custom Computers, your go-to store for the latest cutting-edge tech. Whether you need to upgrade your life with the best from Apple and Windows, or your device needs a little TLC, the Custom Computers Know-How Store is the destination for unbeatable expertise and quality repairs. With 2 convenient locations, there's a Custom Computers near you on Patton Street in Palmdale and Cades Village, or call 396-1100.
Family life is full of joy and challenges. With a Fidelity personal loan, you can handle life surprises while focusing on what matters most. From home renovations to unexpected expenses, our loans are fast, reliable solutions to any problem life throws your way. Make that move today. Call 356-7764.
Fidelity, we're good for you.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of a new way. Don't you know that it's the start of the end of the old way. Wake up, it's a new day.
We are back with Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. We're streaming live on GuardianTalkRadio.com and on the Guardian Radio app for smart devices. We're also on your televisions on Cable Bahamas, Channel 969, and BTC Flow Channel 612. You can tweet us at Morning Blend 969 or Facebook.com/Morning Blend 969. Text us 422-4796. Standard text rate supply. Once again, I'm Dwight Strachan. Join me now, Ricardo Wells from The Accredited with 10th year seniors on Saturdays. He's here at least once a month on Fridays. Good to see you again, sir.
I actually really look forward to today.
Yeah?
So much going on right now.
Just in general or because of what's in the news?
Oh, definitely because what's in the news.
Okay.
Definitely because what's in the news.
All right, so we're going to have fun with that today. And I guess you're going to have a lot of fun in our business hour. We're supposed to be talking about the budget, but I suspect it's going to be a lot about the candidates that were unveiled last night. F&M Chair Dr. Dwayne Sands is going to be joining us in that hour. Before that, though, we're going to be talking with Life for Key Foundations about the King Foundation Building Craft Program Bahamas. And we were told a few weeks ago about this, and the awardees, some of them are going to be with us this morning. They're going to be heading to the UK for this amazing, amazing program. Looking forward to that discussion. So that's all I had on this Friday, final Friday of June 2025. Might as well say the year is over, right?
Halfway point.
It's all done after this. But anyway, but right now it's time to talk about what's in the news. In the news, the F&M unveiling candidates for the upcoming general election. 17 candidates named last night. Some surprises and some old faces. Our Travis Cartwright Carroll writing about it in today's Nassau Guardian. The Free National Movement unveiling its first 17 candidates for the next general election during an event at F&M headquarters last night. The candidates included a mix of former MPs, F&M MPs, and newcomers to frontline politics. Several former ministers, cabinet ministers, were nominated, including former Minister of National Security Marvin Dames, nominated once again for Mount Moriah, former Minister of Financial Services, Trade, Industry, and Immigration Ellsworth Johnson, once again for Yamacraw, and former Minister of Foreign Affairs Darren Henfield, this time for South Beach. Henfield previously served as North Abaco MP between 2017 and 2021. Interesting move. We'll get back to that in a bit. Also nominated Michael Folks for Golden Gates, Carlton Bowleg for North Andros and Berry Islands, and Ricky Mackey for North Eleuthera. Seats all three men previously represented between 2017 and 2021. St. Anne's MP Adrian White and East Granbaham MP Kwesi Thompson were renominated for their seats. And the party's remaining candidates include Dr. Jacqueline Penn Knowles for Marathon, Terrence Boodle for North Abaco.
Therese.
How do you say?
Therese.
Oh, it's Therese.
Yeah.
Thank you. Oh, so that's not that's a woman.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Well, it's the first woman we've called so far, right?
No, you called Dr.
Oh, Jacqueline. Yes. Okay. So two. Okay. All right. Sorry. Brian Brown. Thank you for that. Brian Brown for Golden Isles. Omar Isaacs for West Grand Bahama and Bimini. Mm-hmm. What happened to the guy who ran in the by-election?
We hear. It's the best way to explain it. These are all questions that need to be answered.
Oh, okay. That was just, what, a year ago? A little over a year?
Yeah. Things move really
quickly. Already? Okay. Deborah Moxie Roll for Exuma and the Ragged Islands, and Dr. Nicholas Fox for Fox Hill. Orinthia Komalafi for Carmichael.
Mm-hmm. Trying to get the southern communities sorted out in the first batch, I see.
So not Killarney.
Yeah.
No? Okay.
I think no one is still up in the air, pending on the Boundary Commission to see what they do. So that might be swapped out a bit.
Interesting. Jeremy Sweeting for South Abaco and Philippa Kelly for Central and South Eleuthera. So the party blocked off a section of Mackey Street directly surrounding its headquarters and set up a stage tents.
I didn't know that was possible. I want to know the logistics behind getting something like that started up.
Politics in the Bahamas, anything is possible. Okay. I talked to some people who got caught up in that. They were not happy.
There was no announcement.
They just like, what the heck? But hey, election time. Dozens of party supporters flocked to the area. F&M leader Michael Pintar took to the stage around 9:30 p.m. He said the party was careful with whom it selected, saying, quote, "The truth is our people are waiting for a difference. They have hopes that a new generation of leaders would emerge. Tonight we have come with a slate of candidates capable of delivering that change." He said, quote, "We want the public to know that we were careful to select persons who were credible, persons who were competent, persons who will serve the community. We want the public to know the kind of people we are presenting to deliver the change. Okay, how will we know? When will we know?
I guess the ones that have been there before, we could go based on their track record. And the new ones, we could go based on their work in the community. That's the best way to approach it right now. There's a lot of questions, but I guess that's the only form of understanding you could walk away with.
So people in the community would know who these people are?
I'm hoping so. I'm hoping so.
Okay.
There were two of the candidates, two of the women candidates. Therese Boodle, I'm not sure if she's going by her other surname, Bethel, but she has been a long-standing local government representative. She's been an island administrator on a few family islands. I've had the pleasure to see her and work with her a couple of times while I was a reporter. During the passage of Matthew in Long Island, she was one of the administrators placed there at that time. Did a tremendous job in the response to that storm. So I know her criteria really well. She's very hardworking.
Okay.
The other one, the one that you mentioned for Exuma, she's been an island administrator as well. So those two persons, they have credentials in the government in the governmental space.
Yeah.
They have the ability to get in positions like that and work them really, really well. So those two I'm sure about. The other ones, I
guess we'll see.
We need that criteria. We need a resume. It slips my memory to say Dr. Fox as well. He's been a long-standing member of the Foxville community. He's done a lot of tremendous things through his entity. He's of course the proprietor of one of the most important clinics in that area at the time. In the early 2000s, he developed that space. So there's good in the batch.
Okay.
Now the questions we have, and I've seen it all over social media in the last 16 or so hours. The questions behind the persons that we've seen in public life before that left with questions, that left with concerns. The candidate from Mount Moriah. There's a lot that still need to be addressed. You put yourself in a position now where the general public would have to ask, well, if the representation wasn't good the last time, why are we here again? So
is that the case? Was it not good, or is it just everybody got swept out with the wave?
I think according to the people in the constituency, there was a lot left to be asked. And I think those persons in Mount Moriah would probably have a lot to say about it in the coming weeks, but we just have to see.
Interesting. All right. Well, Pintart says, quote, "We are interested in putting forth a team that will inspire our graduates who are abroad to return home."
How?
Oh, my God. Not just because they love the country, but because we have created an environment where there's opportunity for them to be in the Bahamas. I believe that together we represent the new chapter in nation building in this country. Pintart says the F&M went looking for candidates who were already distinguished in their professional fields. He says, so they didn't come to politics as a come-up. This isn't a stepping stone to make some money. This is they are stepping. There is a stepping stone and a platform to make that impact on your lives. Or I'm sure I'm missing something here. They is a stepping stone. Anyway, tonight we have showed up to serve notice on this government that change is not only coming, change is here. Wow. Okay, so the F&M leader also took aim at Prime Minister Philip Davis, whom he called Lil Phil.
We at that point now. Less than a year out, we at that point now.
Well, if they say He needs to get a real job, I guess you could call him Little Phil. During a PLP rally on Monday, Davis unbasted Pintard in the F&M. He said Pintard is struggling to lead the F&M and questioned how he could lead the country. Pintard said he's not worried about the attacks from Davis, saying, quote, "The truth is, I understand what he's going through. He spent 30 years in a constituency when the truth of the matter is he has not demonstrated the ability to transform that constituency. He says he won, but you can have the ability to win, but lack the ability to govern. The truth is, if you go to his constituency, the same man who promises transformation for the Bahamas, I tell you the truth, my mother is from New Bight, he from Old Bight, and I'm telling you, Columbus would recognize Cat Island if he came back. That's how bad he's been as a member of Parliament." Okay, so he's been pushing that Columbus thing quite a bit. I think that's the second or third time I've heard it now. First time it was kind of cool.
I think the people of Cat Island are proud of that because I feel like they don't get the just due when it comes to the Columbus story. So I feel like this is now putting that to the forefront.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
Oh, okay.
Good information on history there.
Wow. So how should the San Salvador people feel?
Well, I mean, you got to give Cat Island their just due. They were the original Sin Salt, so we gotta let's tell our story correctly.
Quite debatable, quite debatable. But anyway, maybe that was part of the plan to keep it authentic. I have no idea.
I like the worry. I like the worry in your voice. I really do.
Worry?
Yeah.
In terms of what?
The list you just went over.
Oh. Okay. Well, yeah, what do you think that's about? I don't know. I am not admitting that is the case, but what do you think that's about?
I think you feel where a lot of Bahamians are. We aren't clear on what this batch of candidate actually means for the future of not only the F&M, but if they are so fortunate to go on to win the election, what does that then mean for the Bahamian people? I think we're at a crossroads right now where we want to see better, where we want to see more for our country. And looking at that first batch is almost like it feels on the surface that is a lot of the same. And I think that could, salvage the batch there.
That's part of it. But also, even when you do know who the candidate is, when you do know what they stand for, will that make any difference once they get into the governance,
system,
right?
The system. I don't even call it governance no more. It's just a system.
You just have to toe the line and do what the leader says or do what the party says.
But if you take him at face value and everything that he said up to this point, those are things that he wants to address. He wants to remove those aspects of government and replace it with workable foundations. He's the one who's talked about expanding local government. He's the one who's talked about giving more powers to family islands in some communities here in Nassau. He's the one that laid out the groundwork for that. Now we have to see.
Was he?
He's been saying it over the last couple of weeks, relatively the last couple of months. He's been the one communicating that. If you take a look at it,
we've heard all this before from everybody.
This is what I'm saying.
Everybody, and yet here we are, right? And does that include New Providence? Have you heard him say anything about New Providence?
He suggested it, but again, I'm gonna take your route there.
Same thing.
A lot of people say a lot.
Suggest.
So I understand your frustration, but.
Oh, boy. Yeah, they say, yes, I totally support local government for New Providence as soon as there's peace in the Middle East. Sure. Anyway, let's get your reaction to it, folks. 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259. Call us toll free, 242-300-5720. What do you think of the candidates? What do you think of the candidates so far? And what are you concerned about? What names didn't you hear? And which constituencies didn't you hear? Are you concerned about that, or are you just willing to wait? Let's take this call. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning, Cousin Dwight.
Good morning.
And good morning to your most illustrious guest.
Good morning, sir.
Man, listen, Dwight, I ain't going to tell you no lie. We of the nation appreciate your co-host, Dwight. Because for the couple of times I listened to this young man, he remind me of Nana Boy. This man is transparent. This man straight up the middle. He give it to you. He put it on the table. Now, the thing is your choice. You got to choose. You understand me? And Dwight, I have been, and I told you so person in the last 2 years to the Nation and Guardian Radio. I told you all before, don't mind Pintard and Bray Davis. They family. I am happy that Pintard said it himself today. I from New Bight, Bray from Old Bight. Nana Boy don't talk foolishness. They family. Don't mind them.
He said it on the show.
He said it. Thank you very kindly. But you got some naysayers who call Guardian Radio talking about, oh, that Grammy boy, this, that, the next thing. Grammy boy is tell the truth. Now,
Right. So what does Grammy Boy think about the candidates?
I got coming right now. I ask you, Dwight, because I know you was going to ask me. I have a half brother in there. Been there before. A very nice person, you know. But I could be like your co-host. I could sum it up. The only thing I see Penta doing is recycling rejects from the Gong Show.
I don't think Ricardo said that. Did you say that?
I alluded to that.
Yeah? Okay.
The one.
Rejects from the Gong Show.
Yeah.
And the Bahamian people, like your co-host said, we deserve better. Thanks for taking my call.
I mean, every 5 years there's a bunch of rejects, and they get in.
No, but
so
I think
what
this
difference
time,
will this make?
I think this time is a bit more worrisome because these are
sure?
these are persons that we have not gotten over yet. What I mean to say is, and I'm gonna focus in on Mount Moriah.
Do you want me to show you a list of people who are currently?
Hear me out. I'm not disagreeing with you. What I'm saying now is what happened during the last F&M administration. It really shocked a lot of people to their core. The F&M has a uphill battle moving forward to try and get over not only what happened during Dorian, but what happened during COVID. All of these things are still fresh in the minds of Bahamians.
Do you think that's why some candidates are in different constituencies or running for different constituencies this time?
That's the best way to look at it. And if you look at it, a community like Abaco, devastated during the passage of Dorian. Both of their candidates were named last night. Both of those candidates were presented. Those are persons that work the community that have been on the ground since Dorian. You see where I'm coming from? So you look at that and you say, okay, he understands what he has to do in that community. But while we face that issue, you have to look at all of the other candidates that we have seen in these positions. Mount Moriah, again, former cabinet minister. We still see crime elements out of control. Crime elements are out of control from his time there. So now you have persons saying, well, hey, if we vote for him, does he go right back to that position and fail us yet again? So those are the questions people are asking. So that's where the concern comes from some of the callers.
Yeah. So I don't recall, maybe you would know, whether we heard an official statement from the DNA that they were done. Did we ever hear that?
I never saw it.
Obviously, with
I think
their former leader running now for the F&M.
I was just about to say that. I think the closest we got to that was her announcement that she was going to move over to the F&M.
But there was never anything saying that they are
Mr. McCartney was in the background, basically my campaign of the former prime minister. So from that standpoint, the writing on the wall.
It's bigger than one man, though, isn't it?
Was it?
No? Oh, boy. Let's take another call, and you can call in as well. 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-425. Now, what do you think of these candidates, folks? Good morning, caller. You're on the air. Good morning, caller. You're live on the air.
Oh, hello.
Hi, yeah, we can hear you now. Hi.
Yes. Yeah, man. Good show this morning. Good morning to your guest, too. Yes, your guest is really on point this morning. Because everything, most everything he's saying is right on point. Because we haven't gotten over the F&M yet, and then for Michael Pintard to bring these familiar faces of failure, because they are not familiar faces of success or no form, right? And this also explains why the F&M was taking so long, because gathering up candidates, in the thing for the F&M today, right? That's what's happening, right? Because it looks so bad, and then they hear Michael Pintard using another party slogan, changing, income changes. Yeah, that is the slogan of the COI. Are you going to end your statement with change, income and changes? Yeah, I mean, I don't know if he's enjoying the COI. But Michael Pintard
the Valley Boys showed us, if you don't go register these things, it's up for grabs.
Well, that on the COI T-shirt, so I don't know, and that was being posted for many. That just came about. So Michael Pintard, no.
You keep breaking up there. Oh boy.
Have a nice day.
Okay, all right. Well, I guess you got to look for the red change versus black change.
That's the only way that you could approach the ballot this go around. So, but no, the caller is absolutely spot on. It is a slogan that we've heard a number of times used by the COI. So it causes cause for concern. This is where you have to question these things. Like, I hate to say it, you've had quite some time to put together this slate, especially if you know I'm going to break it up in parts. This one should have been the one where you used it to basically enamor the Bahamian public. You would use this to pull them in and say, hey, you guys have demanded more. You guys have demanded better. This is what more and better looks like. And you lay that out. It didn't have to be 17. It maybe could have been 10. It maybe could have been 12, 15. Some group of faces that people would see and feel like something new was coming.
Well, maybe we'll hear. Here they are, and over the next few weeks or months, you'll get to know them better, know why they've changed, know why they see things differently now.
We now live in a social media day and time where things are all about promotion and rollout. We've seen the social media promotion for this. We've seen the social media rollout. We've seen all the posts. We have heard all of the social activists on Twitter and TikTok and all these other things talked about this. So we were expecting something more. I think the campaign title that we saw over the last couple of days, it ain't long now. So you felt, just looking at that alone, that something special was coming.
Yeah.
And then to see the candidates rollers, I'm just like, I stay up for this.
Yeah.
I could have gone to bed 8 o'clock.
Oh, wow.
You know what I mean? It was over. I could have called it a night. You keep me up and I seen some faces I want to see. So that's where a lot of Bahamians are this morning.
Okay. All right. So this is an interesting text here. So firstly, Michael Pintard has never been prime minister. So it's unfair to beat him with the "that's what everyone says" stick, I guess is in response to the local government thing. Secondly, what else can a candidate do but say? If you're not there and seeking to be elected, what else can you do? Plus, Ingram promised local government and introduced it. Yes, but everyone else since then has been promising local government for New Providence, and here we are.
I want to fix that very, very quickly. It's not that he's promised local government. It's the fact that local government, the expansion of local government has been so long promised, but all we've seen is the redundancies in the system be taken advantage of. We've seen local government kind of bewildered to the point that the space that the Family Islands once had to develop and do the things that they need to do, that's been now kind of sacked and taken over by the political party.
Yeah. Well, the current administration has made some changes. We'll see how far that goes, giving them a little more of a say in what happens with their community.
You can look at the legislation. All that is doing is allowing party politics to take root in our local government system.
Oh, boy.
You know how I feel about local government, Dwight. Yeah. You can't create legislation. You can't create formats that allow party politics to take over because that's not what that system was built off of. That system was built to represent the few among us, to go into those smaller communities and ensure that their rights and their needs are met. But if you fill that with a situation where reward is only given based on party alignment, that's when you mess the system up more. And that's the problem that I have with the most changes to the legislation. It doesn't give any space for persons to actually represent those communities. It only gives this process for persons to say, well, I'm a PLP in power, let's do something now.
Greater autonomy is desperately needed, and we definitely need to have a deeper conversation on how this should look. All right, so let's take these calls. Got a whole lot of text messages to get to, but good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning, Dwight, and your guest.
Yes,
good morning.
Ricardo Wells is with us.
Mr. Ricardo Wells, I really admire your awareness and the clarity and balance you bring to this electoral process. I would like to hear more from you, Dwight. You need to bring him on, particularly when these times occur.
Okay.
All right? That'll be nice. Now, the thing is here, did Mr. Pintard say anything or promise anything about this freedom of information? Because I want to request some information. Did he say or did he promise that? Because I'm of the opinion that what I would like to see, and a lot of Bahamians probably don't want to have access to just query some things. Would he be embarrassed to find out that people may be querying things that may be associated with some of the candidates, and therefore he cannot promise? I mean,
I think he's made many promises. He's been on the show and talked about it. That's what he's saying, that he wants to see it fully rolled out, fully enacted, fully implemented.
Hello?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, but the thing is, you must remember now, people who donate to these candidates and donate heavily. Some of them are not Bahamians. And
So you're talking about campaign finance reform.
see, they are the ones who determine where the government goes when the party wins. Would he be able to share some information as to, because he did say one time to the current prime minister, if you name yours, I'll name mine. So I want him to step forward now and start naming his. The prime minister, and force him to name some of
We will remind him of that, and we'll talk to the chairman about that as well. Thank
All
you
right.
very much. Appreciate it. All right, let's take these calls. Good morning. Caller, you're on the air. Hi, good morning. You're live. Good morning.
Yes, good morning, Dwight. How you doing? Trying to share that on this radio. See Alan Johnson.
Hi.
Right. Before we start on anything else, let me start with local government, right? Because that's very, very important. You know, you and I, I don't know whether I'm John the Baptist and you Jesus, or the other way around when it comes to local government.
Okay.
But we have to first look at the impetus for local government. The Freeport was the impetus for local government because it had to be enacted to actually delay the implementation of the taxation of local government in Freeport. So, but the blueprint for local government has been established in the municipality of Freeport. And that is going to be where the true test is because, again, you have a form of taxation already in place. You have a form of service fees that it's paid. There's a lot of different things that's already in place. There's even some modification where the taxes, some things that happen. I don't want to go 2 days and to use today to drag it into the Hawkesbury Agreement. But if Freeport becomes the test for what New Providence can be, because remember now, Freeport has maybe 24 developments that each exist on its own with its own charter rules or whatever it is that you want to call it, even though it's represented by technically overlapping, I think, of 2 or 3 local government authorities. But just the mere fact of that happening, it has to be done. And Mr. Pintard has promised that it'll come about. It cannot remain as the status quo. And Mr. Davis has also indirectly stated the same. The question now is, who has the testicular fortitude to actually execute it, to actually have it happen? And if that happens, then we have a blueprint, a sandbox for how local government will work. You don't have to do this modification because you change modification for New Providence. By the way, the law already has it on New Providence, but I'm talking about for the power that you want to give to people for taxation. And I use this as an example. Where Laverne and I live, if I want to encourage people to come here, we could self-tax ourselves the few thousand homes here and build our own school and build our own fire stations and things. And then say you have to live in this district to come here, which then drives up the value of the home, but it also drives up what rent to be collected to pay for that taxation that allows it to do.
Yeah.
And
all right, so we need to have another in-depth local government conversation. I'm going to make sure Ricardo's here for that. I'm going to ask you really quickly. We're running out of time about the candidates yesterday. Some people were surprised, maybe me, that your name wasn't. Your name wasn't there. What's going on?
Well, for me, the candidates, it's about leadership. And it's amazing at times we make this argument that if the prime minister is the authoritarian or autocratic leader that makes the decision that determines the way, the pace and the way the country goes. And so if it's about it's about leadership, then it should also be about ideas. And the most important thing that I think that this election will be, it'll be about the who, what, when, where, why, and how these things will be done. I've used the expression 6 months away from the second quarter of the 21st century, and we have yet to accept digitalization, automation, datification, and digital transformation.
You're not
which
answering
the
my
world
question,
moving to.
Are you answering the question?
Huh?
You're answering the
No,
question?
I'm saying it's going to be about ideas on driving it way, and for the people to be able to digest it. And then the question must be asked: as these ideas is present, is this the team that can execute it?
Okay, all right, I hear you. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
But is he a member of the team? I just wanted to know, would he be a member of the team?
I guess we have to wait for the next 17. I think it's going to be the who, what, where, when, and how, and why they're wearing red. gold
I respect that.
and black.
I respect that.
That will likely be, for most people, sadly, the only determining factor.
He speaks a lot about Grand Bahama. There's only 3 seats left. And one have to belong to the party leader, so there's only 2 seats left. That's all I'm saying. If we have 5 in Grand Bahama, there's only 2 left.
Okay, one more call. Good morning, call. You're on the air.
Yeah, Dwight. Sorry for calling back 2 seconds. Listen, Pintard. Let me show you why the Bahamian people got to watch out. Pintard spent last night picking 17 candidates. Half of them rejects from the Gong Show. I maintain that. But what he spent the other half of his time doing? He spent the other half of his time doing saying
you think
what
it's only him?
Davis ain't doing his consistency. That sounds futuristic or promising for the Bahamian people.
That's what everybody does around here. That's
Dwight, come on,
budget debate?
You got a good co-host. Besides, your co-host this morning, he needs his own show.
Did you? He has his own show, but it's a sports show. But it's
He did it on Guardian Radio.
But that's right here Saturdays at what's happening? Saturdays at 11:00. He's here every week. I guess they want you on every day. Did you listen to the budget debate? All they did was talk about rescuing us from the pandemic and being locked down. The people are wondering where's the money in the ministries, what's being used for this. We still don't have those answers, not entirely. So this is politics, sadly, in the Bahamas today. This is all
That's why I said
deflection. You
earlier.
don't know who you find out 3 years in what this candidate is about, and that they believe this or don't believe that, or that they can't read. You don't know anything.
You had a couple of callers before talked about freedom of information. And this is why, and it's no criticism of org. Maybe there's some other community organization that needs to be developed for it. Matter of fact, it probably should fall on media to do a better job pulling the resume of these potential candidates and just educating the public on who they are. Whatever we could gather, whether it's about Dr. Fox and just he used to own his clinic, this is the history of his clinic, whether it's about Mrs. Boodle Bethel in Abaco, this is her legacy in local government, whatever it is.
That's great. That's a great idea. Again, with the system we have here,
I get it.
Are people going to check?
No,
are they going to read it?
I hate to say, I took some time this morning before coming into the show just to go over TikTok because I've seen the environment the PLP is cultivating on that app.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen how they're intending to use, I guess you could call them local personalities across TikTok and across other social media platforms.
Not the candidates?
No, I'll share with you while we are on break.
I don't know
but I could see the work that they're doing there. It's not about trying to understand the candidates.
So
it's just
not the candidate, but influencers?
Just using influencers to peddle the idea that they have the better candidates.
Oh, wow.
Not really telling you why the candidates are better, just that they are. So when you have that kind of situation, you have a huge portion of our population that's going to be swayed by that. It's the idea that, hey, well, I saw this on TikTok. They say she better, so I guess she better.
This is terrifying. And the fact that we have people who've moved while they were an MP from one party to the other and were questionable, but they're reelected because they went to the right side for the election, shows you that plenty of us ain't serious about anything. Just seeing colors, no matter what. It's insane. Let's read these text messages. This person says here, tell your co-host he's talking fool. What? Marvin is a great candidate, and he helped all I live, and me and all my children will vote for him again. Blame the F&M fools who stayed at home. Oh, boy. Okay.
That candidate, that person clearly lives in the neighborhood watch portion of Mount Moriah. So I'm happy for that. They should probably go a little bit across the highway and see how it goes.
Information.
No, not insider information. It's just clearly that person lives in the really refined part of Mount Moriah. I think we often forget these aspects of these communities. Mount Moriah is split between a portion of Yellow Elder and a large portion of Stapleton Gardens.
Mm-hmm.
Now, in the portion of Stapleton Gardens, life is really, really good. It's comfortable for a lot. They have the parks, they have the neighborhood watch. But if you just so happen to go across that highway at the right time, there's a completely different community over there. That community needs those drones that we've been asking about.
Oh boy.
You see where I'm coming from? These are the things that we often forget. We have to understand we live in holistic communities. I'm a person who live in Golden Gates. My candidate was named last night. I can tell you right off bat, there's some positives about him, there's some negatives about him. You understand where I'm coming from? But you have to understand we live in complete communities. I live in a safe portion of Golden Gates. Up the street from me, once you get into places like Seven Hills, you get into places right off the Carmichael Strip, you have a situation, Golden Gates number 1 and number 2. You have situations, Sunshine Park. You have situations in those communities that need more help than my community does.
Right.
You have to understand you live in a full community.
Oh, boy. Okay. This texter says here, when we often refer to the constituency as Cat Island, we often forget to mention San Salvador and Rum Key. Is it that those other 2 islands are in a far worse state than Cat Island? I don't know who the we is, but I guess it's Cat Island's the most populous of those islands.
Is it?
Perhaps, isn't it? No, who's on Rum Key? And I'm a Strachan, and I can say that. Huh?
I love all 3 of those islands, by the way. I love all 3 of those islands. Yeah.
You've been to Rum Key before?
Yes.
Oh, wow. Look at that.
We can
I've
talk
never
about-
been. That's disgraceful, right?
What?
I'm ashamed.
Why?
I'm ashamed.
No.
Ah, boy. Anyway, soon. I gotta. This person says, what happened to Rembert Wells? And they're not spelling it right, but they mean Dionisio de Aguilar. Okay, well. Anyway, there were some good candidates with name recognition presented by the FNM last night. However, when the smoke clears after the next election, we will go back to what is not working. This country really needs reform. This country needs real local government, decentralization of government, and a federal system in line with what they have in Canada. Well, I agree with you entirely. Are you hearing anybody speak like that other than a few talk show hosts? Who's saying that, right? Or any parties talking like that? Do any parties understand that kind of stuff?
That's the question.
And then some will say, yeah, I support it, but they don't even know what they're talking about, right? And that is a scary thing. This person says here, these candidates the FNM have chosen are a breath of fresh air, young, vibrant, energetic, and committed to the course. It's about time we give the FNM
What
a
is
chance.
young nowadays? What do we define as young?
But this is funny. It's about time we give the FNM a chance.
It was just there 3 years
Oh,
ago.
my
They
God.
had the time.
Maybe it means,
I'm happy for you.
maybe that means something else. It makes much more sense to go with the FNM. I think this is coming straight from Mackey Street. But that's interesting. Who is Brian Brown? Some of the names are not familiar. Well, obviously you don't live in the constituency because he ran the last one. So and I noticed that a lot of people are commenting and they don't live in these constituencies.
That's why I said I don't know who should fall on whether it's a new community organization or the media. Just to roll out the resumes of these people, some of the stops that they've made in their career, to give persons a better understanding. Because to tell you the truth, you have a lot of persons in those constituencies. They know Brian Bond is the person who ran during the last election.
Right.
They still don't know much about what he could actually deliver if elected. I watched a lot of them had the commentary.
Many people don't know about the current MPs and
Fair
what
point.
they are,
Fair point.
what they believe and what
Fair
they could
point.
deliver.
I watched the rollout last night with a family member of mine, and he made the joke often. You could always tell people who were seasoned for this moment and people that had just built off of the party, because he pointed out that a lot of them were using the phrase, lend me your vote. And he was like, do you know the connotation that has for the majority of him when you ask somebody to lend them your vote? And I was like, I didn't recognize it at first, but once he pointed out, I was like, yeah, that's a weird way to say it. Why would you choose that? But again, these are persons who are just going through the party process.
Oh, boy. Some more before we go to the news. This person says here, you have to mix some old with the new. If you put out only new people, then the people will complain about too much inexperienced people. The truth about it is the people rejected Menace, not the FNM. Well, I guess we will see. We will see. With the naming of those candidates, seems to me like the Menace FNMs are very disappointed. And another texter here. Golden Gates and Michael, folks, personally, I just don't see the logic in that connection. Yeah, he's the FNM's party choice, but will he be the people's choice? Sincerely, I don't think so. And I don't think he's in sync with the soul and rhythm of the people's needs and expectations there.
I can tell you right off bat, Peter Glover just delivered chicken in the bag over the weekend. So Golden Gate's looking on a good term. So
that's all you need? That's all it takes?
That's what was delivered. That's what was delivered.
This person says, if the FNM had ratified Jesus and his 12 disciples, people would have complained. Well, especially if Judas was there. Of course. What you mean? Boy. Let's go to the news. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9.
Come on, baby, here's your plan, mister. Come on, see if you
Welcome back to Morning Blend here on Guardian Radio 96.9. We are streaming live on GuardianTalkRadio.com and on the Guardian Radio app for your smart devices. We're also on your televisions on Cable Bahamas Channel 969. You can tweet us at MorningBlend969 or Facebook.com/MorningBlend969. Text us 422-4796. And now at 8:26, it's time for another check of your weather for today, brought to you by Sherwin-Williams Paints. Are your walls giving you major L? Well, time to fix that at your nearest Sherwin-Williams Paint store. They've got vibrant colors delivered with professional vibes. Done listening will start glistening with Sherwin-Williams Paints. So we've got a mid to upper level trough that's going to trigger some more residual showers over the northern islands of the Bahamas while it shifts north and moves away from the area beginning today. Surface high pressure will build across the area behind that, and that's going to support some moderate to locally fresh breezes. And we've got a plume of Saharan dust moving into the southern Bahamas, and it's going to move straight through the country. That's going to bring a much drier air mass for the weekend. So that surface ridge is going to remain in place throughout the weekend, and the upper level low will move from the Atlantic across the islands with a moisture-rich air mass, and that is going to enhance shower activity beginning of next week into the middle of the work week. Before that, though, there is a possibility of localized flooding in low-lying and flood-prone areas, especially in the northern Bahamas today, and there's a risk of rip currents along eastern shorelines of the central and southeast Bahamas. Your forecast for today for the extreme northern islands: cloudy with gradual clearing tonight, a 20 to 40% chance of showers and thunderstorms. Partly cloudy, turning fair tonight with a 10 to 20% chance of showers for the rest of the northwest Bahamas, including New Providence. For the central and southeastern islands, a mix of sun and clouds today, turning mostly fair at night with a 10% chance of showers. High temperatures back in the low 90s today, around 91, 92 Fahrenheit. 32, 33 Celsius for highs, but the heat index will make it feel like it's around 99 Fahrenheit, 37 Celsius. Overnight lows tonight getting down to the mid to upper 70s, about 78, 79 Fahrenheit, 26 Celsius. In your extended outlook for Saturday, tomorrow, mostly sunny, turning fair at night, partly cloudy by Sunday, your final weekend of June 2025. By Monday, partly cloudy with a slight increase in the chance of showers. And Tuesday, cloudy in the northern and northwest Bahamas, mostly sunny in the central and southeastern islands, about a 20 to 40% chance of showers for the northern and northwestern islands. In the tropics, there's an area of showers and thunderstorms currently over the northwestern Caribbean Sea. That's expected to move west-northwest into the Bay of Campeche Saturday or Saturday night. That system has about a 20% chance of tropical cyclone formation through the next 7 days. That is your morning blend weather check. Weather check also brought to you by Easy Car Sales. School is out, and this is the last chance for teachers to test drive an EV and enter to win the big classroom makeover giveaway valued at $1,500. The drawing is on July 1st at Easy Car Sales. And it's time for a check of traffic brought to you by RBC. With RBC, reaching your goals happens here. In your traffic alert, reminding you about the work going on with the Joe Farrington Road Improvement Project, that taking place mainly at nights and not over the weekend, so you should be okay after tonight, but mainly between 10 a.m. and early in the morning, so keep that in mind. And there's also work wrapping up, or should be wrapping up, with Peters Street between Market Street to Blue Hill Road and onto West Street. That work mainly between 9:30 a.m. and 2:30 p.m. was scheduled to wrap up yesterday, but we will just be on the alert that it could be extended if you're in that area. In your real-time traffic right now, as usual, we've got Mile Up Other Highway seeing some slow-moving traffic. If you're heading northbound, as you approach Harold Pond, you'll see that in the northbound lanes. Over on East Street, it's busy for you north of the Soldier Road intersection on the way to the roundabout with East-West Highway. And again, north of that area, as you approach Robinson Road, some slow-moving northbound traffic there and slow-moving eastbound traffic on Robinson Road as you get to that intersection. And we've got some congestion on Soldier Road north of the Prince Charles Robinson Road intersection on the way to Bernard, Wolf, and Village Roads. And just west of the into Robinson Road, some slow-moving westbound traffic right now on the way to Old Trail. Those are your hotspots right now. That's your real-time traffic and your morning blend traffic alert brought to you by RBC. With RBC, your ideas happen here.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
Oh, we don't wanna hear no lies. No, how you playing the carnival? Yeah, we got our dollar value increase and employment to rise. The nation's taxation is causing all of this inflation. Don't give us no peace sign. Then turn around, rob the people blind. Economics is the issue.
We are back with the Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strachan along with Ricardo Wells on this Friday morning. Coming up in just a few minutes, we'll be talking with Liver Key Foundations about the King's Foundation Building Craft Program Bahamas 2025. Excited to talk with them about that this morning. And later we are going to be talking with F&M Chairman Dr. Dwayne Sands on the show. Right now we continue to get your reaction really quickly of a few more of your text messages here to the F&M's unveiling of candidates, 17 yesterday, last night. And so we're getting your reaction to that. I've got quite a few messages here. This person says here, Dwight, I laughed. My daughter laughed when I said Michael Pintard said change ain't come and change is here. Even a 15-year-old knows that that's Lincoln Bain and the COI slogan. Well, what changes do the F&M have? Next time they will lock up the unvaccinated.
Oh, boy.
Because 50 years gone with no change. Well, okay. Do you think it's going to be an issue? You think it's going to be a problem? You think people are going to
I would love to
against
see.
them?
I would love to see what Mr. Bain has to say about this because he's had some things to say about the F&M the last couple of weeks. So
it's going to be interesting. This person says, new people, they have no experience. Old people, retreads. So you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. No matter who is chosen, there will be some negative commentary. When the PLP won in 1967, everyone was new. When FM won in 1992, almost everyone was new. Both parties governed and governed well.
How? The F&M was literally started by the dissident 8. They're dissident because they left a party. What are we? Okay.
We're all that new.
Oh,
but they're wearing
boy.
new colors. They're wearing new colors.
Okay.
Yes,
Fair
yes,
point.
right.
But they weren't new to political life. And the PLP, they weren't new. You had persons like Marlo Butler who had been in the community up to that point.
And many had been MPs already.
What are we talking about? Like, let's keep it a buck, man. Please.
Both parties governed well for the most part. Okay. This person says here, I want to know if the FNM actually surveyed the constituents of Mount Moriah, because I'm sure 1,000% that's certain that they were not going to choose that candidate they put forth.
What did the other Texas say a couple of minutes ago? That I was saying, if you talk to people in Mount Moriah, not the staple inside of Mount Moriah, the Yellow Elder side of Mount Moriah, you would quickly learn that there are questions there.
Well, again,
and I have all the respect and worth for Mr. Deems. I felt like he was a pretty good minister for national security. I felt like he did a really decent job. I was a reporter at that time. I thought he was a really good minister.
Maybe the boundaries might change, and then it'll be...
I hope they push west.
Oh, my goodness. Hopefully none of these candidates challenges Pintard's leadership because they might disappear. What? Well, this is getting heavy here. Dames is the worst. He's the worst Minister of National Security ever. I don't know about that one. I don't think you remember who some of them were. Anyway, where are the drones? They should have flown away from Dames like the drones from the country. Okay. All right. Maybe your co-host needs to explain those things to his MP rather than giving advice to other constituencies. It's giving highly anti-FNM.
Highly anti-FNM. I have all the respect in the world for Michael Folks. I know him personally. I know my candidate personally. I know both of my candidates personally. All I'm saying is it's going to be a tough uphill battle for him. There are sections of that constituency that still is holdover from the Shane Gibson years in Golden Gates. And Pierre Glover Road is going to have a cakewalk in certain portions of that community. There's a lot of work that needs to be done on the ground by Michael Folks. It's not anti-FNM. I'm 100% the truth. That's what we need to focus on here. You have, and I'm not the only person who said it. You had a text earlier that said the exact same thing. Michael Folks needs to get into that community, as portions of that community that he needs to get to know again. And until that's done, it's going to be a tough uphill battle.
Oh, wow. This person has encouraged the, Ricardo to review the newly rolled out unmanned surveillance pilots that were just announced 2 weeks ago. The drones were never in question. It was a political ploy by the PLP, similar to the attack on the deputy leader regarding beaches and
I'll do
parks.
so right now.
Well, just last week, Wayne Monroe talked about, I asked him about the drones, and he had some interesting things to say. Some they could use, and some were not anything they could use, if I remember correctly from what he said.
Based on a price point?
There's a lot of different things, but I can direct everyone to go on our website and listen to it again if you missed it. But we did talk about it. This person says here, I wrote specifically concerning Michael Folks because you wanted to know what we, the listeners, think about the FNM selection of candidates that was announced to the public last night. God willing, when all the candidates from the other parties are announced, I hope to comment on them as well, and who I believe will hold the mantle as representative for Golden Gate's constituency in the upcoming election. But I'm missing something here. Let's see. Okay. This is the person who said they don't see the logic. Okay, all right. Bain may get the FNM nomination for Pinewood. Take the hints, Dwight. Which Bain you talking about?
If the day
you
come,
mean that's why they have the slogan now?
Come and that happens.
That's why they have the slogan, because he's...
Oh, boy.
Oh, boy. Whoa.
We deserve more movies here. That's it. We don't have enough Hollywood scriptwriters.
Mr. Bain can't claim what he stole as his own. What? The slogan and even his natural resources platform has never given credit to the true owners. Okay, this is deep. I can see the FNM winning 12 to 14 seats, hopefully to have a stronger opposition in the House. All right, we'll take this final call, and then we've got to go to a break. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning, guys. How you doing?
Doing well.
I just want your guests to understand that certain seats are not guaranteed. When you're talking about Mount Moriah, you're talking about a seat that was only at a margin of victory for 300 votes.
Correct.
300, which means voter turnout was under 70% in that particular constituency. What you have to factor into, what the people don't factor into, a lot of that constituency is high rental places, which means a lot of those people might not even be in that constituency next election. What needs to happen is the two representatives need to get those people who stay at home to show up to the polls. The PLP victory, and I think that's why they're running Mr. Dames again, because the margin of victory was slim. You could have some people who stayed home to protest the current leadership of the FNM.
The margin of victory was thin with the poor voter turnout.
The margin of victory was 300.
Right.
And the numbers are right there.
And how many voters did not vote? Low voter turnout played a critical role in that seat.
Hold on, sir. In that particular constituency, you had about 5,000 people. The PLP got 1,800 votes. And the FNM around 1,500. And then you had, the turnout was about 60-something%. And that's spread across the board. The highest turnout in that last election was Exuma, Cat Island, St. Anne's, Golden Isles, and Kalani. And Kalani, all of those people registered over 50% of their constituency. We had a low voter turnout. What has to happen is we need both parties have to identify, and that's what Mr. Pintard and the PLP did. The PLP did enough in this election, in this administration to get those people. Obviously, they're going to have their supporters. But if you see mass numbers start to come out, who are these people coming out to support? The governing party is in a position right now to keep the government. They have to convince the Bahamian people to keep them in power. The FNM has to be the alternative to why they should be voted back in.
And you think that alternative in Mount Moriah would be Marvin Dames?
What I'm saying to you is Marvin Dames have a good chance of retaining.
Oh, I never said he didn't have a good chance. Yeah. I said that he would have to go and work in that community. That's all I said.
Both of them have to wait. It's not guaranteed.
Well, we need to see if the candidate for the PLP returns.
Especially with new people who might move into apartments.
Right.
That could change. This thing is still up to flip.
Right, but that's why I specified in Stapleton Gardens, he has a strong footing. But once you get across that highway, there's some concerns in that community that he would need to meet. That's all I said. I didn't say Marvin Dames didn't have a chance. I didn't say...
I totally understand what you're saying, but I'm saying what percentage of those people make up the biggest percentage of those people would voted for him in the last election? It might be new people. And that's all I'm saying to you.
I got you.
Okay. All right. Well, we will see. Hopefully we have many, many months before we can get to this, although the way people are acting, it might not be that many. We're going to take a break and change gears. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Stay with us.
Don't you understand? There's misery in the land. You try to rest, roll with the best. For all your printing needs, there ain't no one better, no. For posters and banners, magazines and flyers, for window decals, greeting cards and newsletters. No job too big and there's no job too small. You name it, we can print it. Just give us a call. Let Print Master masters, bring your masterpiece to life.
Located in the Nassau Guardian Building, telephone 302-2361.
Maybe it's time to explore your options. There's no harm in reviewing your mortgage arrangement and considering a better deal. CIBC Caribbean can help you narrow your search and decide. Switch your mortgage to CIBC Caribbean and enjoy a special interest rate and help towards your switching cost. Visit CIBCFCIB.com/inspired home for more information. Conditions apply.
Ready to insure your ride? Our new website is ready for you. Visit jsjohnson.com. Select coverages, go to Motor, and click Get a Quote. We have made it easier than ever to request a quote online. Fill in all the required fields. When you're done, hit Submit. You'll receive a response via email within 24 hours. Visit jsjohnson.com today.
Fly away with me through the Bahama Keys.
Tired of the hustle and bustle of Nassau? Fly away to the Family Islands with our fly-free offer for Bahamian residents. Stay at any of our hotels for 2 nights and get a round-trip ticket for free. Visit BahamasResidence.com for details.
My Bahama land, yes, my country. Come fly away with me.
It's time again for Nassau Tile's June Jubilee Sale, and we're giving you 20% off store-wide. Catch the sale on all tile, thin set, grout, mosaics, and more. Save 30% off ceramic tiles and up to 60% off selected items. Our experts will guide you in selecting the right tiles. Visit our showroom on Doddswell Street or call 322-2100 to make your dream space a reality. Don't miss the June Jubilee Sale, June 23rd to June 28th.
It's time to upgrade the way you enjoy at-home entertainment. Alive Fiber is here. Enjoy all your favorite channels and streaming apps, all at lightning-fast internet speeds with affordable bundles, and it's only a click away. Visit www.alivefiber.com to sign up now. Stay connected, live your life. It's good to be alive.
Don't be left in the dark this hurricane season. Total Services Bahamas, your authorized distributor for Rolco, is ready to install and service a top-quality generator that will power your entire home, keep your lights on, your refrigerator cooling, and your house nice and cozy. When the lights go out, you don't have to. Total Services is here to ensure your comfort and safety this hurricane season and beyond. Complete generator solutions from installation to convenient rentals. Total Services Bahamas, number 98 Thompson Boulevard. Call 323-0400 or 1, or visit the website at totalservicesbahamas.com.
At Cleveland Clinic, care is everything. So when your primary purpose is to care for the world, you'd start with your community until you're accessible anywhere. You make complexities your specialties and put compassion before anything else, all to redefine what's possible for everyone, everywhere. For every care in the world. Cleveland Clinic.
Southwest Plaza has so many stores, I've been trying to find a sensible way to list them all. There's CBS Bahamas, the Ashai Institute, BENC Snack World, Bamboo Shack Bahamas, there, the Athlete's Foot and BTC, Games and More, John Bull Fine Threads, Alive Bahari, Dairy Queen, 700 Wines and Spirits, Sandy's Clarkson Island Lock, Starbucks and Lowe's Pharmacy, plus Marco's Pizza and Lorraine. Southwest Plaza, what a wide array of stores. Southwest Plaza, stop by today and explore.
Sherwin-Williams Bahamas doesn't mess about when it comes to product range and product knowledge.
If it's a new product come in the store, we walk the store and study that product.
One thing with our boss, if a new product comes in, he takes the time and he's always keeping us up to date with product knowledge. And we just had 9 weeks of different products that we had to study, and we had exams at the end of each product.
Yeah.
The only way we could sell the product effective, we have to know that product. Yeah, that helps us to relate to our customers. It gives us better knowledge to know what product to introduce to them. You understand? So we can know what product to give them to use and what product not to give them to use. So product knowledge is really key in Sherwin-Williams.
They got the keys. And the key is the product knowledge that comes with our extensive product range at Sherwin-Williams Paints, Bahamas. Find color in every day.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, streaming on GuardianTalkRadio.com and the Guardian Radio app, Nassau, Bahamas.
The sun comes up with a burning glow, shines down on paradise below. I'm talking about the Bahamas, you know, a beautiful archipelago. Now go, 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 brag about me beauty. Tell them we friendly. Oh, tell them we proud of we country. Tell them they could come see. Then say I'm proud to be a Bahamian. Proud to be a Bahamian. Proud to be a Bahamian, yes. God gave this land to me.
Welcome back to Morning Blend here on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strachan along with Ricardo Wells. Changing gears now. We talked about this a few weeks ago. The Life for Key Foundations and the King's Foundation Building Craft Program, Bahamas 2025, part of the Peter George Galandris Heritage Scholarship. Executive Director with Life for Key Foundations, Dr. Nicola Virgil Roll, is back with us, and we have a full studio this morning. Very pleased to have with us Jenny Hartley, wife of the British High Commissioner Tom Hartley. Good to see you again. And we have three of the awardees who are going to be heading to the UK in just a few days. Wentus King, Stephen Johnson, and Cameron Ramming. Congratulations and welcome to the show. Great to have you with us.
Thank you. Good morning.
All right, Dr. Nicola Virgil Roll, let's begin with you. Remind folks about this. This is a really exciting program and how this came about.
Yes, thank you, Dwight. Good morning, Ricardo.
Good morning,
Bahamas. This was a program that came about in such a short span of time, really less than a year. We began with an idea about how do we integrate and look at the technical and vocational studies areas. And we were looking for a really good program. We found that with the King's Foundation, which had a buildings craft program in the UK. And so we began to explore, and with the help of Tom Hartley, the British High Commissioner, we were able to be in touch with King's Foundation to be able to talk about the various programs. And what they did for us is establish our very own Bahamas Buildings Craft program. So it's a bespoke program that takes 8 individuals from the Bahamas that we would have to select and takes them through a 5-month program in the UK. And we were able to do this through a generous gift from the Constance Galandris Foundation, which established the Peter George Galandris Scholarship, Heritage Scholarship, which is an endowed program, which means that this goes on forever. And and so over the course of the last few months, we launched our application process. I think we were here to do that.
Right.
And then we selected 8 individuals who were part of the program. And so they leave in July 10th.
Wow.
Happy Independence.
So remind us of the process, how that worked, and how many people expressed interest in it.
We had a good interest. We had about 100 people start the application process. We had 32 people complete fully the application. And then we shortlisted, we did interviews, and I can say, we had just such great candidates. And it was a hard selection process. We had a selection committee made up of really skilled people from the industry, many of whom were scholars of the foundation, but were really just tops in their individual sectors, in the building sector and in the arts sector. And they worked to select the final 8 individuals.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Okay, this is great. We're going to talk to the guys in a bit. And we've got the British High Commissioner with us, Tom Hartley, joining us live. I think you said you're in the UK? Yeah. Good morning.
Right, yeah, I'm in the UK right now. I've gone ahead, put the kettle on, ready for these guys coming to the UK.
Okay, so tell us more about the program and why this is important from your perspective.
Well, actually, I was just phoning in, Dwight, if you don't mind. I just wanted to say congratulations to the candidates, but also a huge thank you to the Life for Key Foundation. They have been such incredible partners in this. They've really done a lot of hard work to put this together at quite short notice. And as the UK and as the High Commission, we couldn't have asked for a better partner and a better friend in wanting to put together this amazing scholarship. So I know you've got Nicola and team in front of you and some candidates, but I wanted to phone in and just celebrate them in front of all your listeners. They've just been absolutely fantastic.
Okay, all right. So some of us missed a little bit of what you're saying, but great to have you calling in. And Jenny Hartley, you're here as well. How important is this for this type of partnership? What can you say?
I think it's a great opportunity for to kind of continue to strengthen that partnership, that relationship between the UK and the Bahamas. As Dr. Nicholas said, it's a really exciting opportunity for these young people to be able to travel to the UK and to learn from an incredible, very well-established program. The program is already has been going for decades, and what we want is for the Bahamas to benefit from this too. Yeah. And so that's why it's wonderful to see these guys be able to travel and spend their 5 months learning from really master craftsmen in all those different technical fields, but then to be able to bring that back to the Bahamas and invest here in the built heritage environment.
Excellent. All right, so let's hear from the gentleman here today. Wentus, you want to begin? Tell us about what you do, your field, and why you wanted to do this.
So my current profession is actually a granite installer or any form of countertop.
Oh, okay.
So I would install granite, marble, quartz, and I just
get a little closer to the mic for us.
Yeah, so I install granite, quartz, and marble as a countertop installer. I also do a little bit of cabinetry. So I try to focus more on bespoke cabinetry or custom cabinetry work, I would say. The reason for me applying to the scholarship is to further my skill set, as well as like the scholarship actually is to give back to the country in a special way by restoring the historic sites inside Nassau.
Yeah. So you should be pretty busy though. Granted, and people are really into this stuff.
Yes, sir.
So what do you think you could learn beyond what you're doing already?
Beyond what I'm doing already, more timber work. The stained glass work is definitely something I'm looking forward to. Blacksmithing, I'm not sure if I'll be interested in that. However, I am going into design decorative plasterwork and stone and lime plastering.
Excellent. How old are you, if you don't mind?
I'm 25.
Okay. Good stuff there. Stephen Johnson, what about you? What do you currently do?
Good morning.
Hi.
I'm a mason and carpenter. I currently work for Triple I Construction and Renovations. I saw this scholarship on Facebook, so my plan is to come back and, like they say, give to the Bahamas. I intend to start my own construction company and create job opportunities for young Bahamians interested in the craft.
Wonderful. And how old are you?
25.
Okay. All right, we've got a pattern going here. All right, and what about you, Cameron?
Good morning once again.
Good morning.
I'm 24 years old.
Okay.
So I'm a joiner by profession. Do cabinetry, bathroom vanities, furniture, all of those good stuff. One of the main things that intrigued me about the program is, that it's a prestigious country such as England, and I always fancy it and appreciated that a deep passion for craftsmanship.
He really got a nice head fancy. I respect that.
and I really take joy in what I do. I was in this profession from at the age of 4. So
at the age of what?
4.
My goodness. Okay.
So I always took a liking to helping my dad and those type of things. So, but one of the main reasons why I really like to go, and I'm happy that I'm going, is because you could give back to young Bahamians and also the knowledge Dr. Miles Monroe said one thing, everything else passes away, but knowledge is something that would always be there. So I would be happy to give back what was given me and pass it on to other generations and other like-minded people as well.
Wow! Why? So Dr. Nicola wrote Virgil. We can see why these were chosen. Tell us about the others who were chosen as well.
Yeah, so we have two out of Grand Bahama. We have Bernardo Francis, and he's had more than 20 years experience in general construction, home construction, commercial projects, design and planning as well. So we're looking forward to him coming to Nassau shortly and then going with us. Out of Freeport as well, it's Delfonte Roberts, and he's a carpenter by profession and also a former student of the BTVI. BTVI figures prominently as a partner with us, and so we were so happy to have so many of their former students who are part of this. We have Dion Desamores, and he's a former student at BTVI as well, and so we're looking forward to having him. Ivan Fox, who is currently with the Antiquities, Monuments, and Museums Corporation, and he works with the maintenance team there. And so that's a big part of this project, involving AMC as a key partner in terms of they're the ones charged with taking care of all of the older buildings in the Bahamas and all of the heritage buildings. We also have Beyond Monroe, and he also works in maintenance with the Antiquities, Monuments Corporation, and has general skill sets in general maintenance. And so we look forward to him working to improve heritage site restoration. So that's the full 8 that we have.
Wow, very exciting. So how much of the UK will you get to see outside of studying and working? Is there opportunity for that?
Yes. So they have their weekends free, but we land into London. So they'll have a day in London to get acclimated a little bit. We hope to visit the Bahamas High Commission in London as well, get them fully introduced there. And then they'll get the experience of taking a train as a 4-hour train up to Glasgow, Scotland.
Oh, that's a long ride. That's a long ride.
And so we told them one suitcase because we've got to lug it onto the train. And then they'll do an hour ride from Glasgow to Cumnock, where Dumfries House is. So that's our first site. From there, they'll spend 3 weeks in Dumfries House in a summer school program. Then they go down to Gloucestershire, to Highgrove, which is another one of His Majesty's estates. And that's where the bulk of the training will happen. There'll be site visits all throughout the UK. And so we look forward to them seeing a whole lot of all of the restoration projects that's happening in the UK right now. They'll get to see bits and pieces of what's happening there, but they also have their weekends free.
Yeah. Will they get to meet King Charles?
Who knows?
Who knows? Okay. All right, so any part of anything in particular you're looking forward to in terms of seeing the UK?
Castle of May for
Get
sure.
a little closer.
That'll definitely be the Castle of May.
Yeah. Stephen, Cameron, what about you? Or the food, anything like that?
No, I'm just really interested in getting to work with the master craftsmen.
Okay.
Yeah. That's what I'm really looking forward to.
Excellent.
Well, I'm open to it all. I love different experiences, people. I'm still pretty young, so I think it's good exposure of.
Yeah, that's excellent stuff. Excellent stuff. So after this group, Nicola, what other opportunities will there be for folks who are hearing about this now and saying, yeah, I'd love to do this too?
Yeah, so this is an endowed program. So we're going to have, we have funding for 2 to 3 people every year. And so we're going to continue this program. We hope to expand it. I'd love to see 8 more people go, in each year. The program, the King's Foundation has a wide plethora of courses. So they have things in culinary, which we'd love to see explored. They have a fashion school, which we'd love to see explored. There's art training. And then there's even millinery, hat making.
Oh.
And so I remember when I visited the site for the first time, one of the teachers there in the millinery school said, Bahamas, straw work, and so they knew about our straw work. And so, who knows, maybe we'd see some straw vendors one day going up and participating in the millinery school.
Yeah.
So it's a wide opportunity. It's a wonderful, high-quality institution. And so we're so proud to be partners in this with the King's Foundation.
Well, excellent stuff. Did any women apply this year?
We had a few. We had a few.
Okay. Yeah. Excellent stuff. All right. So remind people what they should be doing to look forward for next year, what they should be paying attention to, keeping an eye on, and maybe what they should be doing in their professional career this time.
Yeah. So, with this process, the application was slightly different. So we encouraged our applicants to submit videos of their work, their craft, and to really show that they had a passion for building crafts. And so that was really the main element of this, to show their expertise. And they sent loads of videos, loads of photographs of their work, so that the committee could assess their skills and see who could benefit the most from this, and also showcase their work to the King's Foundation, because we want this to be not just the learning experience, but they're also going to showcase the Bahamas' work, because in one of the sites they will be having a live build, and so that means that they will leave something at the King's Foundation.
Wow.
And so something we hope to be uniquely Bahamian. They'll build something in 2 weeks and leave it there.
Well, that is very, very cool.
When they get back to the Bahamas, is there particular properties that they're looking at trying to restore, maintain? Has the Antiquities Monuments Museum selected those places yet?
I think there's a lot of active things happening. So, there's Collins House, there's a number of properties, but because we've had such a really great partnership, we'd like to thank Director Don Cornish and his whole team who've worked with us in developing this. I think there's great partnership so that they know that there's a cadre now of going to be really trained, skilled people to work on various sites.
Okay, wonderful. So we want to hear from you all when you come back. Tell us all the stories. Give us all the highlights. And I'm very, very proud of you. This texter says, happy to hear the passion and heart driving these young men. Looking forward to the greatness they will achieve and pay forward. Yeah, wonderful stuff. So thank you very much. Thank you for telling us about this, Nicola, and for introducing us to these guys who are going to be doing great things. Wentys King, Stephen Johnson, Cameron Ramming, congratulations again. Again, expecting great things from you all.
Thank you.
Jenny Hartley, good seeing you again. Thank you for being here this morning. And Dr. Nicola Virgil-Roll, thank you. Tom Hartley, British High Commissioner, thank you for calling in. And we appreciate it. Good luck to all of you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
We're going to break for news and be back with a whole lot more in business. FNM Chairman Dr. Dwayne Sands coming up next. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Stay with us.
Our sovereignty, yes, together in harmony. Let's say I'm proud to be a Bahamian. Oh, I'm proud to be a Bahamian. Oh, I'm proud to be a Bahamian. God gave this land to me.
Tired of banks forcing you to use technology to bank the way they want you to? Your convenience is important. So no matter what your banking needs, Commonwealth Bank's friendly staff are always available in branch for that personal one-on-one service. But when you choose technology, our online and mobile banking app offers you state-of-the-art functionality. The choice is yours. Commonwealth Bank. Bank the way you want.
It's official. The BYD showroom is now open at the mall at Marathon, and it's like a portal into the future. Sleek rides, cutting-edge tech, all from the world's #1 electric car brand. Slide through for a free coffee at the Dream Bar and let the Easy Car Sales team show you why everyone's falling in love with electric. Rain or shine, it's cool, comfortable, and convenient. Open 10 to 6 daily through the food court entrance at the mall. Your electric journey starts now.
Wendy's and Coca-Cola is giving away up to $25,000 of hot cash this summer. To enter, upgrade any premium combo from 1 through 12 to a medium or a large for your chance to win the grand prize of $10,000. Don't miss your chance to win big this summer. Visit your neighborhood Wendy's, upgrade your favorite lunch combo, and win hot cash. Rules and restrictions apply.
Would you like to know more about divorce, personal injury, wills, company formation, conveyances, and mortgages? Well, then sign up for Halsbury Chambers' 21st Annual Free Legal Clinic, Saturday, June 28, 2025, Village Road North. Call 393-4551 to reserve your spot today. Space is limited. Lawyers available from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Consultations only. This is a community service event sponsored by Halsbury Chambers.
In the world of business, technology is not a choice, it's a necessity. And for businesses that demand excellence, there's only one choice for unparalleled support and cutting-edge technology. Custom Computers. You have challenges and we have solutions. Computing, networking, storage, and printing for enterprises large and small, aligned with premium brands like HP, Microsoft, Konica Minolta, and more. Get tech done the right way with Custom Computers. Call the Know-How team at 396-1101.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, streaming on GuardianTalkRadio.com and the Guardian Radio app, Nassau, Bahamas. Views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the views of the management and staff of Guardian Radio.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
Good morning and welcome to a special edition of Morning Blend Business on this Friday, June 27th, 2025. Welcome back to our Morning Blend listeners. Once again, I'm Dwight Strachan along with Ricardo Wells on this final Friday of the month. And this morning we are going to talk a little bit about the budget, but of course last night's revelation by the F&M is the top story all over the country. Everybody's talking about that, and we're very honored to have with us F&M Chairman, Dr. Dwight Sands. It's been a while. Good morning. Great to have you with us.
Good morning. It's a pleasure to be here. I was listening earlier. You know, boy, that's a rough crowd. It's a rough crowd.
I suspect it'll get even rougher right now. But hey, a lot of people mentioning we didn't hear your name last night. It's only 17 candidates, but when will we hear Dwight Sands?
You know, there's a good Bahamian word. Say directly.
Oh, okay.
Directly.
Soon directly.
Soon directly. You know, you didn't hear the leader, you didn't hear the deputy leader, you didn't hear the chairman, you didn't hear the secretary general. We think that, let's get the job done. We've been very careful to select an exciting group of candidates to represent the various constituencies around the Bahamas. And once that job is just about done, you'll get to hear where Michael Pintar is going to run Dwight Sands and Shannon Cartwright and Safentrol.
Oh, so that was going to be the next question. So can you say right now where Dwight Sands is going to be running or wants to be running?
I could say, but I won't say.
We do note that there were some folks who were running in different constituencies from where they were when they were last in the House. Let's talk about that, especially with Darren Henfield, the rationale behind that.
Well, look, we look at the number of constituencies. As of today, there are 39, but with the Boundaries Commission meeting, who knows? There may be 41, there may be 43, who knows? Constitutionally, there's a certain minimum number of constituencies to show a representation.
I think it's 38.
But in previous, particularly PLP administrations, they run the number up. And the idea is to try and gerrymander in order to achieve a political advantage. It has never worked, I don't believe. But let's wait and see, because the opposition may have its say, but the government will have its way. So as we select. We can only select for those constituencies that we're aware of. And clearly, when you look at the dynamics of who fits best where, and you're trying to get young people, you're trying to get women, you're trying to get community leaders, you're trying to get a mix that's representative of the people of the Bahamas. There are some candidates who can fit the bill in a number of constituencies. They may have ties to a number of places. Mm-hmm. And so we have said to a Darren Henfield, look, while you may have hailed from Abaco, would you be willing to run in South Beach? And as a true soldier and as a former Defense Force officer, if that is what the team needs, that's what I'm going to do.
This has nothing to do with Dorian and how that went?
No. I believe that, I can say categorically that he was one of the preferred persons to run in Abaco. That said, there are other people, and we have seen in Therese Boodle, a woman with a phenomenal career in community service as an island administrator, in Jeremy Sweeting, who has been actively involved in the community of South and Central Eleuthera for many, many years. We had almost 100 people who offered to run on the Free National Movement ticket. If you only have 39 seats, a number of people, by definition, are going to be disappointed. And if you want to minimize that amount of disappointment, then there's some other people that ordinarily may have expressed a desire to go in constituency A, but for the sake of the team, they say, well, I'll go to constituency C or constituency D. Right. And, I think that is what you're seeing at play. And what we would like, as the leader, Michael Pinter, had said last night, is to get the public to understand that these are people who are going to be doing the work of the people of the Bahamas. This is not about their self-enrichment, self-aggrandizement, or meeting some goal for, their stepping stones in life. Mm-hmm. This is about the people of the Bahamas and, who can get the job done. So, to see those young people, to see almost 30% women already, 5 women on the ticket thus far, and there will be more. There will be more young people on the ticket. What we say to those people who some have been quite vocal in expressing their disappointment, there are other roles. If, by the grace of God and the support of the people of the Bahamas, we are successful in ridding the Bahamian people of the scourge called the New Day administration, there will be roles, whether those roles include in public corporations, through the Senate, in ambassadorial slots, and so on and so forth. There are other roles for people to serve, if that is your goal, to serve.
Yeah. All right, so you mentioned the Boundaries Commission, but when do you anticipate naming the other candidates, if it is going to be 39?
I'm not trying to be evasive. We set a target that we were heavily criticized at missing. And so, unless you just can't get the message, why would we do that again? Mm-hmm. Okay, to set an arbitrary date and time for the rollout. We have an aspiration as to when we want to get it done. But, in that process, you encounter some challenges. You uncover some things that you may not have expected. You find out some things. And so we are moving, not only with the creation of our manifesto and our contract with the Bahamian people, but we are identifying the remaining 22, as of today, candidates who will carry the franchise or the standard for the Free National Movement, and we hope that they will be as exciting or, in some instances, even more exciting.
Mm-hmm. So is that your way of saying that the party is still in a review process for those other 22?
Absolutely. So there have been many, many more people than have been selected who have taken the course that we held. They've been vetted. They have expressed an interest. Many of them have been on the ground. In some cases, it was a little bit awkward because in particular constituencies, you may have had 3, 4, 5, 6 people on the ground, okay, as aspirants. And, that gets a little bit awkward. Somebody knock on my door today, another person knock on my door tomorrow. Who is it going to be? Well, in 17 constituencies now, people know who their candidate will be.
Yeah. All right. So you mentioned vetting. For outsiders who are not familiar with the party, how do you choose? How do you decide who is going to be the person?
Well, the first thing, you need to be an F&M. Now, that doesn't mean you got to be an F&M from, Naval Stream was buried, okay? But that you have read the Constitution of the Free National Movement and those components that express the core values that define transparency, accountability, freedom from corruption, and so on. Those are the core principles that separate the Free National Movement from them other people, okay? We are not like them. Whether there are people who would like to say we are, two sides of the same coin.
There are a lot of people saying that.
It ain't so. And, we can get into the granular details to show you why it is not so.
We'll come back to that. But
so
you pick
once somebody says, okay, yeah, this I identify with this, they put in an application. And then there's an interview process by a fairly objective, independent team. They go through vetting, looking at their personal finances, etc. So there's tremendous scrutiny. Some people are interviewed twice, some people 3 times. Then the Constituency Association has an opportunity to interact with these individuals. So whether that's for 3 months, 6 months, whatever. West Barbados Sands fella, he can't campaign with a lick, okay? He don't know how to talk to people, and so on and so forth. The constituency associations expected to then endorse one or more individuals, and that is submitted to the Candidate Selection Committee, which is a very senior committee in the Free National Movement. It is chaired by the leader. The final step of the process, which took place last night for these 17 after consideration by the Candidate Selection Committee, is ratification by the Central Council. The Central Council of the Free National Movement, composed of meritorious council members, council reps, party officers, etc., is the highest body short of convention. And it is the only body that can ratify candidates to run. Now, once ratified, you can use the party logo. You can, within limits, of course, you can use the brand and so on and so forth. Prior to that, people are not authorized. You may be an aspirant, but you are not a candidate. It also allows you to participate in the constituency associations formally, because once you're a ratified candidate, you become a part of the constituency association.
Okay. Yeah. So at any point during this, the interview process, do we learn about where a candidate stands on issues, maybe like marital rape or abortion, or where they stand on anything at all, their vision for the country? Does that come up at all?
It does to a degree, but understand, Dwight, that the Free National Movement's platform and the Free National Movement's position on issues is the issue, is what, if you are carrying the franchise of the Free National Movement, that's what you're going to speak, okay? So I may have my own personal views about abortion, about marital rape, about so many different things. But if I am speaking for the Free National Movement, okay, then I need to say what the Free National Movement's position is.
So you look for the candidate who can best parrot the views of the party?
Not parrot. You agree that this is about a mission for the country, okay? So I'll give you an example. Several years ago, there was a referendum. We could quibble over whether it was truly a referendum, on a national lottery. My personal position at the time was that, hey, that's a pretty good idea. Eh? The party's position was that we're going to vote no on the national lottery. I became the face, the spokesperson for the party, and what I said was I spoke the position of the organization, not my own personal view. So, if an individual feels so strongly that the party's position that they can defend, that they can contribute to, etc. So we get in closed doors and we hash it out. You have an opportunity to say, this is what we should say, this is how we should say it, etc. When after you don't agree, just like in cabinet, okay, if your conscience does not permit you, then you could leave. But if you're speaking for the Free National Movement,
as in leave the party, as you, yeah?
Yeah.
Well, what if your view is representative of the people that you are trying to represent, a constituency? This will not work for us, but it works for the rest of the party.
Again, then you need to defend that position. Okay, there's a forum for that, and people get deeply offended that is the system that we have adopted in the Bahamas. Okay, and people are genuinely offended by it. That in the Westminster approach that we use, and particularly in cabinet, that once you have argued it out, hashed it out around the cabinet table, that you swear that you will defend the position of the majority in cabinet, and you will not say how Dwight voted. You will not say how you voted. And the only option that you have, if you are so deeply opposed, is you can resign. That's our position. That is our national posture. That is our national policy. Now, if we want to change that, let's go ahead and change it.
So even if you're in opposition, you shouldn't have a dissenting view?
No. Nobody said you cannot dissent. You can dissent. And there are several different ways that you can, if you have a matter of conscience. Let's say there's a vote, and you are strongly opposed to the position that your party has decided to take. You might have a important meeting in Florida when that vote is being held. Okay? Or you might get sick that day and not show up. And if your leader is amenable to understand that, look, man, this is a big deal for me. This is a big deal for my constituency. I do not want to go on record as supporting X, Y, or Z. Then the whip may not be on.
Right.
But certainly with the budget, okay, when you talk about the budget is one of those things that the whip is on. So if you are a member of a particular caucus, let's say you are a member of the governing party, and the government puts forward a budget, my brother, my sister, you can defend that budget.
All right, so I know you listen to talk radio. I know this. But so you hear it. You hear people say, "I want to know what this candidate's view is on this." You're saying that should not be that important to you. That you need to know the stance of the.
It's not that it's not important. Understand, and people cuss me out all the time. You a cabinet minister, you ain't never say nothing, etc. I swore an oath that I would not, will not, and still cannot talk about exactly what was debated around that table. But trust me, if you are a fly on the wall, you'll realize that cabinet gets wild, okay? And that Tom, Dick, and Harry don't necessarily agree.
But I feel like that's a view we've kind of looked at as the Bahamian population is not advanced to the point to understand the threshold that some of these discussions actually have. We've moved to a point now where we understand national issues just as well as the politician. So to make a statement like that and say, hey, well, while we understand you have a personal view, I've agreed or I've sworn to not communicate this publicly or have this discussion publicly, the population is having that discussion publicly. So that's where you kind of lose the the idea that these people are involved in this process. You can't just remove them in the understanding.
The manual.
There's a lot of tenets of the Westminster system that we have started to move away from, specifically around the point of dissent. So for you to say that, hey, I dissent, I can't talk about it publicly, I have these feelings, I have my personal feelings, we in 2025 now.
But okay, before you go on, but even along those lines, let's say if you're in the cabinet, I think people can get that. Fine. But for backbenchers, we've seen that before. People don't agree with the direction the cabinet is going. They're a part of the party, but they're ostracized and they don't get a nomination come the next election. Why is that? And it's not just the FNL that's doing this.
So the strength of our democracy demands that the backbenchers ought to be a significant part of the checks and balances to an unfettered overreach by the executive. But that is not how it's been. Okay?
But who's caused that? Is it not you all?
Okay, guilty as charged. Okay? But at the end of the day, there's a lot of reasons why things have evolved the way that they have, such that there are very few backbenchers now.
But again, that's because of the way it's been. You all have caused this, and the current administration.
If you ask me, has the government, the executive, become too big and too powerful? The answer is yes. And so when we look at the practical reality of governance in the Bahamas, the legislature has been reduced to a fraction of its former strength. Okay? The legislature actually functions almost like a rubber stamp to the executive.
Yeah.
And that is to the detriment of the country. For people to get an understanding of this, if you look to our big brothers to the north, that's exactly what is happening. The legislative branch of government has said, hey, do what you want to do. As a matter of fact, the judiciary
There we go.
in the country to the north
Started to move the same way.
has not started. They done gone.
But we beat them, little Dr.
And if you look at the challenges to our democracy right now, and I think it's very important to understand that Michael Pintard and this version of the Free National Movement recognizes that we are talking about revolution and a dramatic change from what has transpired, what has evolved. Okay? Now, I hear the criticism. Man, you have been in power and you didn't do it and so on and so forth. Michael Pintard has never been a prime minister before.
So are you committing, can you say this, that this FNM version of the FNM would limit the cabinet to 10 to 12?
What I'm saying is that this version of the Free National Movement will work once again to deepen our democracy. Okay? Now, exactly how we do that. One of the things we've talked about is freedom of information. And we've seen that kicked around, right? It can happen. And I will resign if I have a role in government, if it does not happen in the next. No. You could. Today is what, the 26th, 27th of June. The time is
9:36.
9:36. You can quote me on that, okay? Because we have bamboozled the public. And in this last budget, yet again, we see that there's no funding for freedom of information. We see there's no funding for an ombudsman. This administration ain't interested in transparency at all. They've gone and said it. We ain't on that run. A Michael Pintard Free National Movement recognizes that transparency and accountability, fundamental tenets of the Free National Movement, something that if you want to criticize the Free National Movement in the last administration, we moved away from. But we're going back there because the Bahamian people demand it.
So you can't commit to saying that we'd have the minimum required in the Constitution. I think it's 10 cabinet ministers. Can we do that?
You're asking me to give a commitment to policy on the fly. We have not discussed the specifics as to how to do it. Okay? That's why I could commit to the freedom of information part. But if you tell me, are you saying, doctors, y'all only gonna have 10 cabinet ministers? We got to discuss it. We have not discussed that part of it. But a Gussie May cabinet, I don't think that's helpful.
But Dr. Sands, it's hard for the Bahamian people to sit back and accept a lot of that because you just said, relative to the cabinet, you all play a role in the discussion. So once the discussions are concluded, whatever comes out of that cabinet group goes on to the public. A lot of the persons that we've seen so far, yourself, Mr. Pintard, Mr. Dames, so on and so forth, they served in a cabinet that produced results that the general Bahamian public were not.
Some, and some that they were. If you look at some of the results of the former minister-led F&M cabinet, they had phenomenally positive consequences for the Bahamian public. Okay? If you look at this administration, they have had some successes, only a few. Okay? So, you know, one of the challenges of the new dispensation of politics is, boy, you got to have a very thick skin. Definitely. Okay? Because if you don't have a thick skin, you can go home and kick the dog. Okay? Because the criticism comes at you 24/7. And you got to stay very, very focused in order to get anything done. Right. And if you believe for 1 minute that somebody can lotion and polish you all day long, then you are sorely mistaken. It ain't gonna happen.
But if we take it beyond the step of the lotion and polish it, if we look at that last minister administration again, several of those cabinet ministers are now going to be brought back into the fold in this space. We've seen some so far. If we look at the results of that administration, you said there were some good. Would you firmly say that there was more positives than negatives? Because the general Bahamian public is saying there was way more negatives.
I think, you know, again, those of us that served in the cabinet know some inside information, okay? And that colors some of the decisions. Certainly, if you look at a Marvin Dames' tenure as Minister of National Security, far and away, and I listened to a caller call in, I heard Dwight's response. The consequence of a Marvin Dames-led Ministry of National Security saw a dramatic reduction in violence and murders in this country. Okay?
But it was also during the pandemic.
No. This was before the pandemic. It was sustained through the pandemic and now went back up.
Well, currently we sit at a lower, I think right now we at 40, 41. At a point during Mr. Dames' tenure, at this late into the year, we were at 40. So if we would say that we've seen a dramatic drop.
That is not true. But, you know, but again, the asterisk, okay, the worst or the most violent year in the Bahamas was 2015, 144 murders.
I can see that, yes.
I think during 2018 or 2019, we're down to 80 something, if I recall. Again, far too many.
Agreed.
But when we look at the fruit born of the approach to crime in a holistic way, a number of the things that were put in place bore fruit. If you look at the Darren Henfield era of international relations and foreign affairs, I think that he acquitted himself well. The outrageous, obscene level of travel and accommodation.
I would agree with that.
Okay? And so the Bahamian people got value for money. We didn't pay $1.2 million for one trip to a climate conference and get nothing out of it.
But with all that said, Dr. Sands, all of those things pale in comparison when you look at the end result of that administration. What happened during COVID, what happened during Dorian, it left a lot of people looking at the F&M administration as like, where are all these good cabinet ministers that we're now talking about?
At the end of the day, I think, you know, the Bahamian people had an opportunity to weigh the former minister-led administration, and we were found wanting and were kicked out. Okay? I believe that when people weigh the Davis-led New Day administration with the cost of living crisis, with the crime crisis, with the immigration challenges, with the education crisis, and the healthcare, the horrible approach to healthcare, they will be found wanting. And I hope that they treat this administration with the same contempt as they treated the last administration. Now, when you regroup, the question that Bahamian people are going to ask is, did you learn your lesson? Have you atoned for your sins? Are you sincere? Okay? And if that is the case, as otherwise, the current administration that was kicked out summarily in 2017 and given another chance in 2021, they would not have been given a chance. Okay? So, is it a fait accompli that we're going to go flip-flop, flip-flop? No, it is not. I think Bahamian people are looking on and saying, okay, show me what you got. Show me what your plans are. Do you truly have a transformational agenda? Is it going to be business as usual? Or are you BSing the public just because?
Let's talk more about that and the differences between the POP and the FNM. Again, many don't see any real differences. What are the big ideas of this Pintard-led FNM? What is going to be different? What do you plan? What are you proposing to be different?
I think one of the biggest things is the idea that when you're spending the public's money, you should be accountable to the public, okay? So when you go ahead, and especially when there are laws in place that say that you will do the following. So how you could take hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars. I can give Dwight $180 million to do some roads. I'm going to give Tom $200 million for this contract. I'm going to sell BPL, but I ain't going to tell you nothing about who I selling it to, what I selling it for, what I can get for it, etc. And then I can lie and say that your light bill going down when I could tell you that my light bill was $2,000 this month. That's
for your house?
And for my house. And I got solar panels gone to bed on my roof. Okay?
All right.
The fuel surcharge was outrageous. And then you have the gall, the unmitigated gall to say that you can give me a rebate. The rebate coming from my tax dollars. So you reach in my right pocket, right?
Take it out the left.
And then you can say, but you ain't got to take it out your left. And I supposed to believe that you love me? Because you done sell off BPL and you refuse to tell me who you sell it to and how much you sell it for and what I can get out of it. All you could tell me is that by 2034, my light bill going down. So that is one way that we are decidedly different than them. Okay, in the other instances, there are certain things where there ought to be priorities. Okay, so if the people's need for safe, reliable health care is something that we all agree, right? How, in God's name, can you allow only one ambulance to be on the road in your province because you are not paying to maintain vehicles? How can you allow the operating room at the Rand Memorial Hospital to shut down because of safety concerns? How can you stop paying the bills to dialysis centers and pharmaceutical companies, even as you travel all over the, Lord forgive me for the language I was just going to use, all over the world,
don't
right?
say Trump.
Okay, no. And you think that somehow that is okay. They are not like us, okay? We believe that we ought to be honest and accountable to the Bahamian people. Okay? When you talk about the policy at immigration, there ought to be a level of checks and balances, and the idea that civil servants play an important role in that checks and balances as opposed to having contracted workers up and down at the head of immigration, and you're doing only God knows what. And the Bahamian people are looking on and saying, well, have we actually given as many as 8,000 new citizenships?
All right, so some people are listening to you and you're going to say, hey, well, okay, this sounds like policies and practices, but what is the big idea? What is the big thing that will set the Bahamas on a path to the future?
The biggest thing is that Bahamians want to know that this country is really for them, okay? We've had two significant eras, 67 and 92, when there was a palpable feeling that somehow the country was no longer for people that were fairer-skinned, etc. I'm talking 67, and foreigners. And then in 92, that there was a rekindling of that optimism. We are badly in need of that kind of optimism, where particularly young Bahamians can believe that there's something in this country for them. Okay? Unlike when I returned home in 1994, and I had no desire to go anywhere else, my children don't look at this country as a place that is welcoming to them because there are no opportunities for them. When the United States, Canada, Great Britain, Singapore, Japan, Korea says, come, bring your expertise, bring your brain power. The Bahamas says, we ain't want you. We can give you a little job making $20,000, okay? Total line, okay? But we're not interested in your creativity. We're not interested in you. You can't own a piece of land in the Bahamas because it's too expensive, okay? All of these things say to the young people, this Bahamas is not for them. And so the administration recognizes that there has to be transformational, revolutionary concepts. And we have spent the better part of 2 years fleshing that out in our manifesto. So when we put, and there's going to be no glossy nonsense like the blueprint for pain, okay? There will be a contractual, we will do this, we will do this, we will do this, we will do this, and we want you to hold us accountable.
We saw that in the last manifesto, and at least maybe a third of the things went unfinished, unaccomplished.
You know, when people look at successive Lakers teams or Celtics teams, etc., they realize that the Celtics, the 70s are different than the Celtics for the 80s or the 90s, etc. And while the name is the same, okay, and some of the players may be the same, you're under different management.
Well, you might need to move to a new city then. I don't know.
We recognize that some mistakes were made. We don't run from that. We apologize for the hurt that we have caused people. We did some things that we could have done differently. Okay? Now, if you are truly sincere and you say, look, this is what we're going to do differently. Some people will say, hey, you hurt me, I ain't never giving you no chance again. Okay? We understand that. But some people, and Bahamians in particular, once they have an opportunity to touch you, feel you, etc., say, all right, I can give you one more chance, but if you mess me up again, don't ever come back around me. I say it before, Michael Pintard has never been Prime Minister or until Convention 2021, leader of the Free National Movement. Yes, you say, some of us were in the former cabinet, but we either got fired or resigned, okay? I'm now chairman of the Free National Movement. The Free National Movement of 2025 is a different organization. And there are some people who were in the organization before who have decided to go down a different road, and it has been a loud, some may say angry process. We would have wished that they would have joined us, but the requirement was that you had to change for the new dispensation of the Free National Movement. If you decide that that ain't for you, well, good luck, God bless, Godspeed, but we're moving on.
When do you foresee that new dispensation of the Free National Movement be brought to light publicly? When could we now see?
We have started in all of our public utterances adding not just political rhetoric, but policy. And so if you listened to the leader's comments over the last 2 to 3 months, he doesn't only say, and in his contribution in the House of Assembly, he didn't only criticize. He said, we will do this. We will do this in education. We will do this in healthcare. We will do this in finance, and so on and so forth. And so those policy positions are being populated even as we speak.
We are running out of time. We're going to have you back, of course. But I want to get to some of the text messages and some other, maybe a couple calls. We got to ask you about this, though. People who knew, not everybody knows, but they say that this slogan is a COI slogan. Changes. What is it again, Ricardo?
Change here, government changes here.
Changes here. They say that is completely swiped from the COI. What say you on that?
I never heard the COI say anything like that.
Dr. Saad, you get bloody trouble for that.
I will. It's an honest statement. I mean, if that, go back and talk to our PR people and ask. But you know, when you talk about a generic statement like that change is here, it's very hard to trademark change is here. You know, that's a different thing than somebody who will remain nameless talking about better now, better to come, which was the Free National Movement campaign slogan in '97. Okay? That's a very different thing than me saying, oh, the sun will come out tomorrow. I can't trademark that, even though I may say it
and even
as
though
a
it's
metaphor.
True, even though it's true. Yes, the sun will come out tomorrow. All right, interesting. This texter says, my team wants to know what significant strides has the F&M done for the Bahamian people and not for foreigners. Why do we have to buy land and foreigners confiscate land for free and get utilities? I guess they're talking about. Anyway, well, what do you say for people who say that that both parties are really foreigners do better than Bahamians?
So, you know, the debate between the immovables properties and the land reform that was issued in by the first Ingram administration has been a double-edged sword. Okay, it made thousands, tens of thousands of Bahamian people very wealthy. Okay, it monetized their property, but it also caused the cost of housing and land to go up. As a part of our platform, we will reveal a move to real affordable housing. And I will give you an example. When you tell somebody that affordable housing in the Bahamas is $160,000 or $200,000 house, but the average or the minimum wage is $260, that don't help nobody. And so one of the issues is that if you look at the cost of housing, that in this generation, children and grandchildren are living in the homes of their grandparents because they cannot afford to own a piece of the rock. Now, that is true in New Providence and probably Grand Bahama, and in the Family Islands, generational property and commonage and so on makes it a little bit different, but since the majority of the population live here, that's challenging. So we will reveal our approach, our granular approach to try and bring those housing costs down below $100,000. Okay? Now, people can argue, well, you know, they want us to live in a simple house and it ain't got no front room and I can't put two settees in it and so on. Look, the idea that that you will use some of the talent, the architectural and design talent, to create safe, hurricane-resistant housing that confers dignity, not only in the home ownership market, but also in the rental market, because you cannot rent a property in the Bahamas for less than $700 a month. Okay?
I don't know a property for $700 a month. You get there?
So when you start talking about how do you restore dignity to a nurse, to a police officer, to a teacher, etc., who may be making, let's say, $30,000 a year. It may be a little bit more.
Right.
Understand that you've got to lock the housing component of living in the Bahamas to a reasonable amount. Yeah. Okay? Otherwise, your cost of live, your salary burden is going to become unmanageable. And so we will give a pathway for exactly that for Bahamians.
This person wants to know, you guaranteed freedom of information, but they're saying, like, how soon? Weeks in or months in? What would it take?
Again, I can't make policy on the fly. I'm sitting on a talk show, right now, and I was bold enough to go ahead and make a strong commitment. But
June
now someone is
9:37.
nailing me down to say by 2 weeks after election and so on and so forth. People talk about the first 100 days and so on. I'm not prepared to do that because I ain't about to lie.
Okay. This texter says, Dr. Sands, bring Reverend Wells into Bamboo Town again. We don't want him. Please send someone else in the name of Jesus. That's a text. Any comments on that one?
I have no comments.
No? Yeah. Let's see if we can take this call. Good morning, caller. You're on the air. Caller, good morning. You're on the air live.
Hey, good morning, Dwight. You guess how you doing?
Doing well.
Hey, I have one question before I go, right? I know the FNM wants to get back in power, right? But the problem is public perception that they're not together and as a unison. You ever went to choir before and it just ain't ringing at the same tone? Or you had a car and the car just offbeat, like one of the cylinders just ain't working. It seems like the FNM party just doesn't have it together yet.
Okay.
That's the problem, and that's, it might not be so, but it's just public perception, and that's who's voting for them is the public.
Okay.
So I think they need to do better PR and get things together, kicking, because elections don't come up, and people are on the ground saying that the FLM just don't simply have it together as yet.
Okay. So do you need a tune-up? Do you need practice? Or do you need to swap out the engine? What's supposed to happen
First
here?
of all, there is no question the Free National Movement is absolutely together. And I think people see that there's no daylight between the leader, the chairman, the deputy leader. Now, understand that this administration has spent a large sum of money for consultants, public relations, etc. They have people paid by the people of the Bahamas who do nothing but spend time on social media all day long. Okay? Particularly people through the Ministry of Housing, some of those people are not even Bahamian citizens, I'm advised. Okay? Wow. Now, and I don't, this show is monitored by IRCA, so I understand that allegations need to be substantiated. This administration spends a phenomenal amount of people's money on public relations and social media plants. They got people that are paid to call into the talk show. Okay?
Well, both parties do that, though.
No, I want to be very clear.
Both parties don't do that?
What, pay people to call into the talk show? No, sir.
We've been informed that both do.
I'm the chairman of the Free National Movement. I can tell you.
Stop doing it.
Anyway.
Okay.
So, it is very helpful to keep, fertilizing that narrative, etc. And, what we try to do is to remain focused, that we understand that what is going to win the next general election is an effective ground operation. What's going to win the next generation is sincerity of purpose. That if, particularly in the younger generations, some of whom don't know who Lyndon Pinland is or was, some of whom don't know who Hubert Ingram is or was, okay? And these are individuals that want to know what's in the Bahamas for me, and they have developed a level of cynicism or skepticism that's appropriate. And so, any aspiring government needs to recognize that business as usual can't fly. So when we talk about the disaster that we call healthcare, okay? Accident emergency at Princess Margaret Hospital, renovation's been going on from 2019. Contractor can't get paid, okay? The minister standing on his feet in the House of Assembly say it can be ready next month. Next month come and go, he ain't finished. It can be ready next month, he ain't finished. He got up on his feet in the budget debate and said it can be ready next month. I will go on record this morning and say it ain't so. It will not happen. And so what happens? Mummies, daddies, Grammies, grandfathers, laying in the hall languishing. Okay? No kitchen. We are not like them. We will make sure that the required healthcare needs, that deal with chronic non-communicable diseases, trauma, heart disease, stroke, diabetes, etc., are covered.
We're overtime. I just want to ask you, there's a good text coming in. The last time he was on the show, the leader, Michael Pintard, said that we needed to have a fixed election date. This is a policy of the F&M now?
I think that it will help to stop all the drama. Because, right now, one thing Bahamians like is junkanoo and politics, eh? And it becomes, it sucks up all the oxygen in the air. That's what we talk about all day. And, once you take this question out of the stratosphere, and you say that the elections are going to be held every year on blam, blam, blam day, or not every year, but every 5 years, whatever, then you know.
Yeah.
And you can make your preparations. The other thing that we need to do is to deal very seriously with this issue called campaign finance reform. Okay? And, Michael Pintard
committing to deal with that.
Absolutely. Spoke about this last night. So when you are diverting portions of public funds
allegedly.
Look, I'm not speaking with parliamentary privilege, but I am speaking. I'm the chairman of the Free National Movement. I don't have any compunction about what I'm saying. Okay? When you take funds, some of which go for exaggerated, inflated contracts, and some of them are going to wind up financing your campaign, the Bahamian people got a problem with that.
All right, really quickly, 10 seconds. You mentioned National Lottery, where you stand personally on it, or would this be?
Again, we haven't litigated that enough, so I can't say right now. I got a lot of strong personal feelings. Some of them will maybe make it into the F&M platform. Some of them definitely won't. Okay, but the Bahamian people will get to see this is what we want you to vote for. And
if they feel that way, what should they do? This is what we want. How to you
go and register. Make sure that you are eligible to vote. Make sure that your vote is not canceled out by some people who may not have the interests of the country at heart. Now, that's a cryptic statement, but I'm sure people understand what I'm saying. Make sure that your views are known to the people who come by asking for your vote.
How do we ensure they listen to it?
That's a different story.
Boy, okay, we're gonna have you back, I'm sure, many times before. Maybe when you announce with
it ain't gonna be this morning.
Okay, next time when you come back, you'll tell us. But thank you so much for being here. Always a pleasure talking with you, Dr. Dwayne Sands. Ricardo Wells, thank you for being here this morning. Really appreciate it. Aaron, thank you for running it and allowing us to run to your time there. Be sure the Guardian Media Cruise Giveaway promotion. Today's the final day to register for this. Pick up today's National Guardian and register while you register to vote as well. Right, all that day. Everybody have a great weekend. Stay tuned for On the Clock with Aaron Green coming up next.
At CFAL, we understand that a secure future is the greatest gift you can give your employees. That's why our tailor-made group pension solutions are designed to fit the needs of both large and small companies. With CFAL, you can provide the retirement you and your employees deserve, ensuring peace of mind and financial stability for years to come. Join the many businesses that have already entrusted CFAL to create the right pension plan for their employees, and let us help you build a brighter future for your team. Visit us at cfal.com to get started on building wealth so you can live well. CFAL, growing wealth for future generations.
With RBC, your idea of loving every journey happens now. Free up cash with affordable auto financing from RBC. With competitive rates and no bank fees, it's the perfect time to make every journey something special. Apply now to pre-qualify in 60 seconds at rbc.com/autoloan to shop with confidence. Conditions apply. RBC, your idea of loving your journey happens here.
Sign up now for the Michael Scootery Peace on the Streets Basketball Classic. This is our 30th year, and we are doing it big. Sign up for 13 and under Tropical Gyro, 16 and under the Myers Group, Sun Oil, 20 and under in the Church Group, We Buy, You Sell, the Design Group in the Open Division, and for the first time, the Jamaica Bahamas Corporate Division. Competition begins July 14th to the 20th at the Hope Center. And then Kendall Isaacs. That's the Michael Scooter Reed Peace on the Streets Basketball Classic, where we shoot hoops instead of guns.
When your hands are too full, life is just too complicated. Nala, Sammy, come here. Uncomplicate. Go faster, safer, greener with the digital way to pay. With Tap to Pay, it's as easy as a gentle touch. No more headaches. Say hello to convenience. The future of pay is digital with options like credit cards, debit cards, online banking, and digital wallets. Make every experience unforgettable. Embrace the ease of digital payments today.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, streaming on GuardianTalkRadio.com and the Guardian Radio app, Nassau, Bahamas.